Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 National Squash League Draft. We are live from Cleveland, Ohio, as we get set for the third edition of this monumental event. Tonight, teams across the league will finalize their rosters and lay the foundations ahead of the 2026 NSL season. And this year's draft has a bit of everything. New teams joining the league as the NSL expands to the West Coast, established franchises looking to strengthen their lineups, with impact talent entering the draft, tough roster decisions as teams move on from players who no longer fit their plans, opening the door for new opportunities across the league. Well, we'll be with you every step of the way tonight, breaking down picks, the strategy, and the storylines that'll shape the season ahead. I'm Sean Choi, and alongside me is my partner in crime this evening, Squash Radio's very own, Bill Buckingham. Bill, how are you?
Sean, very, very excited, and I'd like to thank all of you who have turned off your televisions and are no longer watching the Buffalo Bill-Denver Bronco game. Turn it off. It's over. National Squash League Draft Night. I'm very excited, Sean. You're very excited. The third edition of the draft. Whole different league this year. We have new women's teams. We had what we're referring to as Bloody Monday, where a lot of these National Squash League teams just decimated their rosters. They're looking at this draft as a way to put their team on the map and to compete to get to the championship in Sono at the end of the season.
Absolutely. And before we go dive into things, Bill's going to kind of run us through the rules side real quick.
So as we know how the draft works, so players who were released by their teams. So if you had a draft pick from last year that was number 3 in the draft and you released him, you get a third-round draft pick this year. So, and we also have 2 expansion teams who didn't have any draft picks last year since this is their first year, and they will pick all the way through 1 through 6. So starting with the Seattle Freeze and the New York Queens. So if you release one of your players, as you could see right there on the men's team. So let's take the Louisville Colts for example. They released their number 2 pick from last year. They now get a number 2 pick. As you can see, the Newport Dragons released Mohamed El Shorbagy, and probably the biggest surprise in the National Squash League, probably the most prolific player in the National Squash League, aside from Asafa Saw last year, and he is a free agent this year. So as you could take a look, and that's how the draft will work. All the teams that you see with draft picks will have draft picks. That means they drop those players. So a long night ahead. Buckle up. We'll be here for a couple hours filling out these rosters.
Absolutely. And to kind of deep dive on the men's team rosters here, as Bill was mentioning, obviously some of these teams have opted to drop a lot of their players. And as we saw the finalists from last year, Lake Erie Beacons versus Philadelphia Lightnings, and Philadelphia Lightnings taking the crown, they're kind of remaining to keep their same roster, but they believe in their team. They believe the squad they have. Meanwhile, other teams have decided to be a bit more aggressive on the men's side with the drops, as we know that the talent pool in the draft is hefty and it's full of talent, Bill. But what's standing out to you right now at first glance?
Well, if you look at the first team listed, the Louisville Colts, Leonel Cardenas, who literally just got off the court here in Cleveland, was the only pick they kept. Leonel Cardenas is made for this. He's charismatic. He plays a really good brand of squash. They kept him. The rest of their roster is wide open, so they have 5 draft picks tonight. The other one, not as surprising, my Chicago Grizzlies, Sean, as you know, 3-time season ticket holder, probably the biggest Chicago Grizzly fan there is. They only chose to keep Sam Todd. The rest of their roster is wide open also. The Chicago Grizzlies finally trying to make a move in the National Squash League. It'll be very interesting to see what they do with draft picks. They're probably the most criticized and scrutinized team in the NSL, mostly by me as a season ticket holder. So I'm looking to see what the Chicago Grizzlies are going to do to get back into the mix in the NSL.
Yeah, I mean, great value for Sam Todd as a 4th rounder. He's ranked 42 in the world right now, so I think that's great value to keep him. I mean, the Chicago Grizzlies have, I think, personally drafted well in previous years, so they just haven't had the luck with availability, and that's going to be the name of the game today. And also wanted to mention some breaking news as a pre-draft. We have Newport Dragons right there with Matthias Knudsen. And Bill, you want to kind of walk us through what kind of just transpired in the past 48 hours?
Yeah, it's really funny. So it kind of shows that the NSL has reached the big time. So I always read, the Major League Baseball trade deadlines, and the people, the agents and the general manager are at the bar, and they're having drinks, swapping players, and, trading these commodities. It's reached the National Squash League, Sean. We had last night, and it happened while I was sitting there, we had Matthias Knudsen. Remember, Matthias Knudsen was the breakout star in the first season of the National Squash League and playing for the Knights when they won the championship. And then, just last year, he was a Louisville Colt. And now, in his 3rd season in the NSL, he is now going to be on his 3rd team, the Newport Dragons. Just last night, Matthias Knudsen was traded from the Louisville Colts to the Newport Dragons for a second-round draft pick. So that is something that has never happened in the National Squash League before. It was a lot of fun to watch, actually. And as you saw, I was sitting with a bunch of owners when it happened. Phones were buzzing, phones were ringing, a lot of grousing about like last-minute picks. And you know the league has made it when there's controversy, and with this, there's controversy.
Oh, it's going to be full of it ahead of this season. And before we kind of jump over to the women's side, just important to note for everyone watching tonight, we're running the men's and women's draft together. So these are two separate drafts, but they'll alternate picks all evening, starting with obviously the men's, and it'll be kicked off by Bill's very own Chicago Grizzlies, and then it'll be followed by the New York Queens, an expansion team, a new team this year. But kind of wrapping up things on the men's side, I mean, what I'm excited to see is obviously we see the Greenwich Panthers opting. They had a great season last year and having the marquee with Mustafa Asal. But their second round pick was Sanjay Jiva. They decided to drop him and kind of strengthen their squad. So we'll see how that goes here. But why don't we kind of shift gears over to the women's side here, Bill?
Excited to see Mustafa Asal back with Greenwich, by the way. I mean, usually players of his marquee you don't know their availability. He has obviously made it clear to Greenwich that he's going to be available for their matches. But yeah, jumping over to the women's side, as you can see, what stands out to us are the two expansion teams, the New York Queens and the Seattle Freeze. Very, very exciting to get a team on the West Coast to Seattle. They're going to have 6 draft picks. Just to have a team on the West Coast, and it kind of legitimizes the National Squash League. Oh, no,
I'm very excited about it. And to have a sister team here, New York Queens, in my backyard, it's really exciting to have, as well as they'll have the first round pick. What do you think? Having a new team here, do they have the advantage with the depth of the pool on the women's side of the draft, Bill, or do you think they're at a bit of a disadvantage with all these great players already being picked off by other teams here?
I think the biggest advantage they have is as head coach. I mean, so we saw John White was the head coach. Everybody kind of poo-pooed it. John White, head coach of the Philadelphia team that went on to win the championship last year. I think the New York Queens won up that. They said, we'll take your John White and we'll give us Noren Gohar. So they have Noren Gohar, arguably the best player in women's squash, who is out right now on pregnancy leave. Can't play for the New York Queens. Second best thing, having Noren Gohar coach your team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great advantage to have. I personally think both teams are going to be having an advantage here with the pool, especially how top-heavy, especially the women's draft is. There's a lot of players in the top 10, in the top 20, in the women's side, as you can see, but still they have a mountain to climb with, especially the finals from last year, Philadelphia Freedom versus District Inferno. Obviously, Olivia Weaver wasn't able to make the finals, which was replaced by Tinne Gilis, who has now entered the draft, which should be very exciting to see. But over in District Inferno, we see Amanda Sobey, we saw Jasmine Hutton, and they surprisingly dropped Lisa Aiken here. I don't know if that was an availability thing. I don't know if we should be more gracious to these owners and kind of rip them on BG's podcast, on the NSL official podcast, saying a lot of these owners don't know what they're doing. But maybe I didn't really give them the benefit of the doubt here. But
there's also, Sean, the thought that a lot of these players, and it's the back stuff, how are they to deal with? Is it easy to get a hold of them? Are they answering your phone calls when you're asking about their availability? We know on the men's side, a lot of players have been dropped because the owners are saying, look, I'd love to have them on my team. I asked if they were available for this match. I called them 3 times. I texted them. They never got back to me. So I think owners at this point are a little more savvy. They're a little less starstruck, I think they were in the first couple of years, where they were looking at, wow, let's have this player on the team. They're awesome. I love watching them play. Well, I had to deal with them for the last 2 years. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
That's a great point. Again, the name of the game is availability. And the owners were privy to the fact that of the schedule ahead, and players had to fill it out. So that's something that you guys listening into the stream might not realize, but that's something they note while they're going to the strategy here. What I found interesting is the Sono Sharks, Bill. They did not make the finals, yet they kept their entire team here.
Yeah. I think Sean Moxham and his wife, they love having a team there. They're going to have the championship rounds there. The semifinals and the finals are going to be at M Squash in Sono in South Norwalk, Connecticut. They must have a plan, right? Because nothing better having your team in the championship at your home club.
I mean, that would be the ideal scenario, but in the unfortunate case that they do not make the playoffs here, that's going to be a bit awkward, Bill.
So I have a little thing I'm going to throw at you right now. So I'm looking at the dates right now. You know, we've shifted the National Squash League. It used to be strictly a spring league, right? It would start in May, go till the end of June. Right now, we're starting in January. So it's very possible. We're looking at the New York Queens draft picks, and I'm not sure what the rules are here, Sean. I'm not sure about player coaches, but I had Noren Gohar on my Squash Radio podcast last week. Noren Gohar's due in April. The championship's not till June. Would we see a scenario where the New York Queens, fighting for a playoff spot, coach Noran Gohar, 2 months after giving childbirth, stepping on the court? Would that be a scene?
The NSL need to clear that ruling up because that would give them such an advantage. And I think even 2 months out, Noran Gohar is much, much better than a lot of these players. She's just unbelievable player, and it's just so exciting that she's being involved in this project here with the NSL, whether it be through coaching. But another team, Seattle Freeze, is going to have all the draft picks as well throughout tonight and throughout this evening.
Right. So, Sean, before we jump off these teams, let's just remind people of the National Squash League rules. So, always causing confusion, and this year the rules have changed ever so slightly. So, if people weren't confused enough about the rules in the past, they've thrown a little bit of a wrinkle. But I think even you don't need to be an Ivy League graduate like Timmy Brownell and Spencer Lovejoy to understand the rules. So, just like in the past years, each quarter, first quarter, second quarter, 20 minutes long, each worth a point. Third period is 30 minutes, worth 2 points. So, as we've talked about in the past, if a team wins the first period and the second period, they don't win the match automatically. It could go to a shootout if the opposing team wins the third period and gets the 2 points. The big change is in the power plays. So there's power plays now in the first period and in the second period, same as before, but the big difference is in the 30-minute third period, there are now 2 power plays, and instead of them being 2 minutes and 1 minute, they're both 2 minutes. Last year, amazing the confusion, because I'd say amongst the players, there's probably 30 Ivy League degrees, and I would say that caused the most confusion of anything. So they made it simple. Every power play is worth 2 minutes. So that 30-minute period used to drag a little, especially if maybe the score wasn't as close as we wanted it to be, and instead of waving the red flag or the yellow flag, teams would start waving the white flag and the audience would start leaving. Now we have 2 power plays, keep everybody involved, keep the matches closer.
I love it. I love the new rule change and the fact that they're open to rule changes, as well as the league really takes shape. They're open to ideas, to innovation. So big fan of what they're doing here. And I always just love the third period because you're never out of it. You're never out of it, Bill.
Right.
And there's always the opportunity to do that very entertaining penalty shootout.
Right. One of the other news flashes that just happened, and I don't know, those who follow the PSA probably know, one of the players who was really looking forward to playing in the NSL this year, one of the great players on the PSA tour, and a person who plays out of New York City and out of open squash, Farida Mohamed, the Egyptian, just announced that she will be out for an indefinite period of time, having shoulder surgery. If you watch the Pakistan Karachi tournament a couple weeks ago, you saw she had some K-tape. She had a little bit of a shoulder injury. She announced today that she is going to have surgery. So she has withdrawn from the NSL. She will not be playing this year. Joins Yusuf Ibrahim, who also withdrew from the NSL, wants to take care of his body, focus on the PSA season, and Ali Abu Alainen, who has also said no NSL this year.
These are some tough news, especially for the NSL and a lot of these owners. It's a big curveball, but obviously the player's health comes first and foremost here. It does shake things up here, Bill, especially with how top-heavy the women's draft is. It gives a more premium to the top players and for these teams. And, I mean, look at the names here. We got Siva, we got Tinne, we got Farouz, who's such an upcoming talent here. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes above Tinne and Siva, but we'll have to see how tonight pans out, as we have a long evening ahead of us.
Yeah, no, definitely. But look at these other names that I think the most exciting names here, to be honest with you. Nick Matthew, in his 40s, looking to play in the NSL. We have Olivia Klein, retired Olivia Klein, who was playing some of the best squash of her career when she retired, had a child. She's coaching down in Philadelphia. Her husband's coaching at Princeton, Alan Klein. She's throwing her name back in the NSL draft. And then, greatest of all, one of my favorite players ever on the PSA Tour, Omar Masad. Omar Masad hits the ball just about as hard as anyone. He is looking to play NSL squash. So along with Miguel Angel Rodriguez, they're not my age, but I feel better about my age seeing senior citizens such as those guys jumping into the squash.
I mean, Nick Matthew, as you've seen with a lot of the exhibition games and matches, he's proving that he can hold his own, and if not further. So I think him especially announcing his position into the draft is such big news, as he feels confident that he can be taken, especially in the earlier rounds. But
I think a team needs to balance whether the AARP discount that Nick Matthew gets on a flight to the United States bounces off against the keeping 911 on call at the match.
But yeah, I mean, if Omar Mossad, I know he's actually coaching now Amina Orfi, who's such a top talent. So it's going to be interesting to see. If anything, I feel that they have a bigger premium because of the availability issue with a lot of these players with all the year-round tournaments, especially in the PSA. I mean, we just saw it here. We've got in Cleveland, Squashing the Land happening. We got Motor City Open happening. We got TOC happening next week. But to have a available player like Nick Matthews, especially if these teams are prioritizing, we got to make the playoffs before anything. We can't just look to get the best player and hope for the best, and then playoffs happen and it's a mess. So availability, really, I can't stress that enough, is the biggest importance here when these owners are looking to draft.
What are we thinking about an Omar Mossad, Nick Matthew, Miguel Angel Rodriguez team all on one team?
I think they could do some damage here.
They would do some damage. Teach the young guns a lesson or two.
The Masters team. But why don't we shift gears over to, we're going to throw it over to our MC for the evening, Ryan Leslie.
This is our third season of the National Squash League, which makes this the third rendition of the National Squash League draft. Our first draft was held in Nashville, Tennessee, followed by Charlottesville, Virginia, and we are now here live in snowy Cleveland, Ohio. With that, we had a great 2025 season with Philadelphia taking both titles. We had a great exhibition today as we watched Squash in the Land on the PSA Tour. Chicago Grizzlies are first up to pick on this year's men's side of the draft, and the clock is on. With that said, I would like to welcome the newly appointed CEO and Commissioner of the National Squash League. Please help me welcome Spencer, the Tranquilizer Lovejoy.
Thank you, Leslie. It's great to hear that nickname is following me into my professional career as a business person. Firstly, thank you all for being here. Thank you to Cleveland for hosting us for the third National Squash League draft. Shout out to Squash in the Land and Top Notch Management. And thank you to all our great team owners who have made the time this weekend to come out and draft their teams. So thank you to all of you. Welcome to the 2026 National Squash League draft. We had a great season last year with our two Philadelphia teams taking the victory in the finals. So shout out to the Philadelphia Freedom and the Philadelphia Lightning for a great run last season. We've been putting in a lot of hard work in the off season, and we have a lot of exciting things coming for 2026. We have two new women's teams this year, the Seattle Freeze, our first ever West Coast expansion team. We're very, very excited to welcome the Freeze to the National Squash League this year and begin westward expansion of the league, hopefully many more West Coast teams in the future. We are also very excited to welcome the New York Queens, our women's team in New York. They'll be joining the New York Knights, playing out of Open Squash. Shout out to Open Squash, great venue. And we have some great new partners on board this year for 2026. Dakota, who we just recently landed as our official financial sponsor of the NSL. Sunrise Courts, who are here tonight, go check out their booth in the back. They have built courts at many of our facilities. And M4 Squash, who does all of our jerseys, our official jersey sponsor. Dirk is here as well, so if you have any clothing inquiries, please direct them to Dirk. Dunlop, Mira Wine. We have Mira Wine stocked in the bar, Tenio, and obviously our proud partners, US Squash, who's here tonight as well. You'll hear from them later. So with that, thank you all again. Welcome to the 2026 draft. We're in for a great 2026 season with our calendar starting on January 30th with Atlanta Tornadoes. And with that, the first pick of the 2026 NSL draft, the Chicago Grizzlies select Kareem Abdel-Gawad. And now on the clock for pick number 2, the New York Queens.
So Karim Gawad, I'm happy as a Chicago season ticket holder. I just sent my renewal in. As soon as I heard that pick, I was a little privy to that pick earlier, so I sent my renewal in. It's going to be a great season. He's told them he is available for both their matches in April. Having Karim Abdul-Gawad as the star of your team, it's a new era for the Chicago Grizzlies.
I mean, I defer to you, especially as a season ticket holder, your excitement. It seems like you are very excited for this pick. And Karim Gawad, I mean, there's nothing much really to say. A player that needs no introduction, a former world champion. And right now, having kind of a second resurgence here. I mean, not that he's ever left the top 10, but he's pushing all the top guys. I mean, he's kind of hovering around 4 and 5, currently ranked 5, but was 4 a week ago. So it's going to be fantastic to see his squash and his exciting squash with the hands he has in display here.
Yeah, one of the players who gets better with age, right? So Karim Gawad, we're just going to call him Karim Gawad. That's probably why, because we're calling him Karim El Gawad. Karim Gawad is just as good a player now as he was 10 years ago. He's ranked the same that he was 10 years ago. So just aging like fine wine. Very exciting pick. A really, really solid pick for the Chicago Grizzlies.
Yeah, he's moving phenomenally well, too. So age has not caught up to him. All right, we talk about longevity.
Exactly.
He's one of those players.
We're waiting the second pick.
But yeah, we're going to shift it over to now, as I mentioned earlier, now it's going to be the women's first-round pick here with the New York Queens as we excitingly await who they're going to decide on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Queens have made their first pick. The first women heading to the New York Queens from Egypt. Please give a round of applause to Farouz Al-Bukhar. Nashville Crushers, you're not in attendance, but you are now on the clock.
All right, Sean, Farouz Abdelkir, one of my favorite players. As you know, she calls me her good luck charm. Both tournaments I emceed this fall, Farouz Abdelkir won. So up-and-coming player, 19 years of age, former Egyptian junior star, is making her mark on the PSA Tour, already ranked inside the top 10. Just one of the most fun players to watch on tour right now. It's incredible. As we look at like Gohar leaving the tour for pregnancy, Mohamed El Shorbagy, getting a little older at age 30, you kind of think, well,
Might have to be careful there, Bill.
I know. It's time for other nationalities to creep in, maybe kind of stop that Egyptian dominance. And then we look, and we got Amina Orfi and Farouz Abdelkir, one 18 years of age, one 19 years of age, and now we have Farouz Abdelkir in the National Squash League.
This is fantastic. I mean, this is a bit of a shock to me. I mean, we have Siva and Tinne, who are kind of more veterans in the top 10. Farouz kind of definitely moving up the rankings. And I look at this pick with some Noah and Gohar influence here. I think maybe they're kind of looking at the premium of the long-term picture here, long-term investment of where they think Farouz is. I mean, I think personally she's playing at a top 5 level. So even though her ranking reflects 8, she's definitely in the top 5 mix with how she's been producing this season. So very interesting pick for the first round for the New York Queens. It seems a lot coded with Gohar's influence there, but as they'll be well prepared ahead.
Yeah, Abdelkir, the Alexandrian, now located in Cairo, going to school over there, moved over to Cairo. Obviously, Gohar, even though she lives in Connecticut, family in Cairo, so we could see the symmetry there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. The Nashville Crushers had dropped a player to make sure that they now had the second overall pick for the men's side of it. I also must explain that this year we have combined both drafts, so we will be going back and forth between the men's and women's, if you did not pick up on that already. But with that said, the Nashville Crushers have selected from Egypt, Yusuf Saliman. Yusuf Sullivan off the board. Next on the clock, Seattle Freeze, making your first pick.
Another top 10 player, another Egyptian, Yusuf Solomon. It looks like the National Squash League is starting to mirror the PSA. Very Egyptian heavy with these early picks. Very exciting, Yusuf Solomon. Obviously a great player. I would say the one thing I'd worry about him, a bit injury prone.
Yeah, that's a good point you raise here. I mean, I don't know what exactly his situation is. I don't know if he's going to be playing in the TOC. I don't know if we have inside information there, but I may have heard rumors that he may be opting out. So there is some risk here. But I do want to mention, I think you don't get cute with it, Bill, on the first round pick. You just kind of have to grab the best quality player, kind of entrust the fact that in the long run, they're going to be worth it. So you don't want to get clever here and end up with someone ranked maybe perhaps in the 20, and then later on you realize that they're not going to be impactful when they're up against the likes of Kareem Gawad or Mustafa Asal. So I think this is the right pick. This is the right decision, Bill.
Yeah, Yusuf Solomon, obviously one of the best players in the world, can challenge the Asals of the world, can challenge the top players. He is as good as it gets when he's healthy. He could beat anybody on the PSA Tour, and he will excel in the NSL format for sure. He's a fast player. He's a quick player. He scores points really quickly. He'd be a lot of fun to watch. He'd be great for the team also. Tell your members Yusuf Solomon's coming in for the weekend to play at your courts. He's going to draw the crowds.
My goodness. And, I mean, one thing I'd be very excited to see Yusuf plays, especially how he defends the power plays. He's such a hard player to kind of knock off points off of. He has a great balance, great retrieval abilities and power. But let's move over to the next pick on the women's side now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Seattle Freeze are making their first ever pick out of the women. Congratulations to Seattle. The Seahawks might have a big game tonight, but we know that Seattle cares more. Yeah, this is the real game. That is definitely for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first pick to the Seattle Freeze in the women's draft from Belgium, Tinne Gilis. Also, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are in attendance, their food and drink has arrived. You may go to the banquet area to get some food and drink if you would like, or otherwise, listen to the beautiful, soothing sound of my voice.
Tinne Gilis, also known as
Next on the
Tinne
clock,
Gilis.
Dragons, you are on the clock.
not to make fun of our MC Ryan, he's doing a great job. But yeah, Tinne Gilis, obviously another great pick. Not only a great player, she is going to be so good with that community. You also, beside picking players that have the talent and the skill to lead your team to victory, those people are also going to be at your club for the weekend, right? And there's not a nicer player on tour than Tinne Gilis. It will be so much fun for the Seattle team to have her at the club all weekend during their matches.
That's a great point, Bill, that I feel like we don't mention enough. How marketable, how charismatic is the player for your community. And I think Tinne Gilis is a fantastic ambassador, not only for any community, but for squash itself. And she's fantastic. She's, in my opinion, very proven. I mean, she kind of got a last-minute call-up in last year's final to replace Olivia Weaver, and she did a phenomenal job. Like, look at how the results panned out, Bill.
Right.
She was a difference maker.
Right.
So it's a shame that Philadelphia Freedom won't have the pleasure of having her in the final, if they can even make the final as a repeat and win the title again. But now they're going to be looking at Tinne as an opponent rather than their very own.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, just a fantastic pick. That's a great start for the Seattle franchise, new franchise. We saw the Queens pick Abelkier, a star of the PSA Tour. Now the other new team in the NSL picking another star of the TSA Tour in Tinne Gilis.
And we'll go.
We're going to shoot it back to Ryan for the next pick.
Never know when that actually is going to get played. Fantastic. Well, we have the Newport Dragons pick. This is the final pick of round number 1. The Newport Dragons are taking the United States of America, number 1, Mr. Timmy Brownell. All right, Timmy is one of our players that is in attendance this evening. Timmy, 2 years in Nashville, made it to a final, and you got dropped. I don't know, how did you feel in the first place of being dropped by the Nashville Crushers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously disappointing, but first off, thank you to Newport for taking a chance on me. I'm so excited for this season. I'm going to be playing my heart out every match, and I hope we can bring a title to the city.
Well, Newport took you. It's kind of like, when you have an ex-girlfriend that drops you, there's another pretty one that picks you up, and the pretty one, I guess, is Mr. Kosker over there. What are you and Pat going to work on for the rest of this draft now as you got to complete your team?
Well, I guess I'm about to find out, so I'm sure Pat's been planning hard, and I think we have some picks later on in the draft, and I think rounds 5 and 6 are going to be really important for all teams. So hopefully we build some good depth, and I think we're going to need it this season.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Timmy Brownell heading to the Newport Dragons. That concludes round number 1. We are going to take a short break for some advertisements as we go into round number 2. The Tornadoes, Atlanta Tornadoes, you are on the clock for the first pick of round number 2.
Meet Dakota Marketplace, built by fundraisers for fundraisers. It's a complete, accurate, and ever-updated database. Stay current on job and role changes to be notified when your prospect or client leaves a firm. Stay up to date on fundraising news. Access our metro areas feature, which allows you to quickly identify a city that you are traveling to, and all of the qualified prospects within that city broken out by channel. All of this updated in real time. Request a demo and see how we make fundraising easier.
Timmy Brownell to wrap up round 1 for the men's side. Wow. I mean, a couple hours ago, Bill, you were saying that on the exhibition match that this could be really Timmy's last NSL match, but really glad he's extending his career here in the NSL format. And I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer that he was going to stay in the NSL, but to get picked this early by Pat, who had dropped your best friend, Mohamed El Shorbagy. I'm curious to get your quick thoughts on this draft pick here.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick by Pat Kosker. If you can't have someone like Mohamed El Shorbagy on your team, and we know really why he got dropped is because he wasn't available for the Newport matches. Having the top player in the USA is a drawing card. Timmy's very dynamic at this spot. Now we have 2 dynamic players at the top of their lineup. We have Timmy Brownell and Matthias Knudsen playing for the Newport Dragons. I think it's almost a 2-for-1 swap, right? Mohamed El Shorbagy for those 2 players. I think that's going to work out in the Newport Dragons' favor for sure.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, the fact that Pat Kosker, I mean, he's a known veteran, and I think he knows this format. He knows how this game works, and I think he's looked at availability as his #1 priority, and he doesn't want to have a situation in the midseason where a lot of his players are not available. So this seems like the right pick here.
Yeah. And let's go back to Ryan for the next pick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here for the beginning of round number 2, and the Atlanta Tornadoes were on the clock. They have made their pick. One of the most decorated legends of the game, a fan favorite, typically wherever he goes. Give a round of applause heading to Atlanta from England, Mr. Nick Matthew. Louisville Colts, you're on the clock.
On Nick Matthew going this early in the draft. We knew Nick Matthew was going to go in the draft. There was talk whether he was going to go a little bit later. We get into rounds 3 and 4. Nick Matthew, incredible. incredible. It kind of, I foreshadowed it in our pre-opening when I said it could possibly be a Nick Matthew, Miguel Angel Rodriguez, and if we see Omar Masad down in Atlanta, I may fly down to Atlanta to watch those matches.
I mean, it's a Masters all put together there, Bill.
Yeah.
My goodness. I mean, wow. I mean, cannot say enough about what he's accomplished in the game. And he's one of those players after retirement has stayed close to the game, has stayed active, has stayed in shape, and he always surprises me when he shows up to these NSL exhibition matches. He's holding his own better than a lot of these active players, so I think it's a rightful call here. But my question to you is, do you think they took him a bit too early, or was this the right call, or even better yet, was this too late for him?
Again, I think we're looking at it the same way we're looking at Tinne Gilis, where we are looking at someone like Nick Matthew of Nick Matthew's ilk is going to come to your club for the weekend in Atlanta. I mean, think of the kids down there. They're going to have Miguel Angel Rodriguez for sure. They're going to have Nick Matthew on the same weekend down there. There's going to be, I know for a fact, for their home match, there's a silver tournament going on. It's going to be chock full of juniors. You're going to have one of the legends, two of the legends of the game for these kids to look up to. I think it'd be fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. And talk about the most competitive player the squash scene has seen.
For sure.
Nick Matthews up there, and I would love for him to get his to put him in a setting where his competitive fire shines through.
Yeah.
It's just going to be fantastic to see, and the league better watch out.
He's a little old, but that's, age is only a number, right? I mean, when they call him to tell him he got drafted, if he turns his hearing aid up, he'll hear the ringer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Louisville Colts have made their pick. But beforehand, I would like to invite Conrad Triplett and Judson Triplett up for a trivia question to win a prize. Come on, here we go. Give a round of applause for Judson and Conrad. They both participated in the Cleveland Bronze this weekend. Give it up for Judson as he finished second place in the Bronze today. All right, you both have a shot, so it's okay if you miss. It's a PSA trivia question. What player on tour currently has won the most titles in the PSA? Do you know who you just drafted?
Oh, heck no.
You don't know who you just drafted?
No.
He's one of the Shorbagy brothers.
Sick bag. Osaid somebody? I don't know his name. It's somebody Osaid? Something. Oh, dang it. Wait. My dad just told me this. Dad just told me his name. What is it? What, Mohamed El Shorbagy?
There we go. They just won a Dunlop prize pack giveaway. Give it up for Judson and Conrad. All right, maybe we'll. The next trivia question will be an adult. With that said, the Louisville Colts are going to take, if you could guess it, he has the most PSA titles on tour from Egypt. Give a round of applause to Mohamed El Shorbagy heading to the Louisville Colts. He joins Leo and Mati. Just kidding, Matias got traded. Next on the clock is the Philadelphia Freedom defending champions. Freedom, you're on the clock.
Oh, Mohamed El Shorbagy, I hope he's not watching this. Actually, I hope he is watching this because he just said he was from the E country. He is from the E country, but not the E country that our MC said. Mohamed El Shorbagy is from England. Mohamed, I apologize. Another MC may have made that same mistake and was not easily forgiven. I hope you forgive young Ryan. He's new at this. But that being said, Mohamed El Shorbagy back in the NSL, down in Louisville, playing for the Colts. They have to be very excited to have him down there.
I mean, we owe Mo another apology here. For him to be taken round 2 is offensive on its own here with the caliber, what he's achieved in the game, where he stands in the rankings. A lot of people doubt him. A lot of people have been writing him off for the past couple of seasons, but he always comes back and proves everyone wrong. And if there's anyone to fuel the fire for it, who doesn't even need much of fueling a fire, he gets his own motivation, it is Mohamed El Shorbagy. Now they are stacked. They're very top-heavy now at the Colts. What do you think, Bill?
I like him. I like it. I like it. Hey, any team that adds Mohamed El Shorbagy automatically becomes an instant title contender. He loves this format. Last year, it's always, you take these top PSA players, you never know whether they're just going to kind of like throw their racket on the court, not really try. It's kind of like, just a payday for them. Not Mohamed El Shorbagy. He still has that beast in him. He still wants to win. He still showed last year that he's very competitive and he loves this format. I think this is a home run.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll shift it now back to Ryan.
See if Ryan gets.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the second round. The Philadelphia Freedom are the defending champions of the National Squash League. And here to make their pick, please welcome Coach Sunil Desai. Sunil, would you like to say some words?
Thanks, Ryan. I recognize that we're the defending champions, and that's a nice position to be in. It's been a great experience so far. I'd like to shout out to Olivia Weaver, who's playing in the tournament this weekend and has been the anchor for the team and for me, advising us. I guess just talking about this choice that we had to make tonight, very tough decision earlier in the year, releasing Rowan because of her injury. As everybody knows, availability in this league is a very critical consideration, and you never know what the teams before you are going to do. So, a bit of a surprise what has already happened this evening. So, we would like to welcome Siva to the Philadelphia Freedom.
Thank you, Sunil. Yes, I'll give it a shot. Sivasangari Subramaniam is heading to the Philadelphia Freedom for the rest of the season. It'll be Siva. With that said, next on the clock are the Knights, New York Knights. Champions year 1, failed in year 2. What does year 3 have in store for the New York Knights? You're on the clock.
Veteran move by Sunil there, not trying to pronounce Subramaniam, just going with Siva. Ryan showing off a little bit at the end there. Didn't know Mohamed El Shorbagy's country, but can pronounce Subramaniam. So, skill set to skill set. Adding Siva, obviously, to the champions. just an all-star lineup. Sean, the only thing I have to say is, while being a veteran, by not trying to pronounce Subramaniam, Sunil changed the logo of the Philadelphia Freedom after a championship season. They just unveiled a new logo today. After you win a championship, would you change anything such as that? Wouldn't you keep everything the same? Is there no such thing as superstition in sports anymore?
I guess not. I mean, I wouldn't have touched the thing, but these are the decisions that a championship team needs to make. And as an owner, he's being ruthless about it. And I mean, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to win. And I mean, to add Siva to an already stacked team is going to be fantastic. Now you got Olivia Weaver and Siva. That's a joke lineup right there. My goodness.
Not to mention the UPenn grad, who turned out to be the start of the team, as I call her, Belinda Alves, jokingly, because one time I introduced her and called her Melinda, so now I call her Belinda. But yeah, I mean, you have they're top heavy with Olivia and Siva, and really Melinda. Melissa Alves was the star of the team last year.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, top to bottom strength. This Philadelphia Freedom is here to play here. And now back to the men's side.
All right, we're here in the second round. The New York Knights are making their pick here, as Sunil alluded to in his speech in his last pick, and what Bill Buckingham, our commentator in the booth, will always say: in this league, the best ability is availability. And with that said, heading to the New York Knights, hailing from France. Give a round of applause for Baptiste Massotti. Baptiste heading to the New York Knights. Next on the clock, the Nashville Crushers.
Baptiste Massotti from France. The New York Knights, they won the championship in the first year, fell to the Philadelphia team last year. Adding Baptiste Massotti, trying to make it back to the podium. Sean?
This is a fantastic pick in my opinion. He's been a steady player throughout his career. Always thought he had more potential than where he stood in the rankings, but nonetheless, he's been a perennial top 20 player, and was a bit of a head scratcher for me, Bill, that he was dropped from the Nashville Crushers when his value was in the second round anyways. And now for the fact that they gave an opportunity for a team like New York Knights to revamp the success they had in season 1, and adding Batiste Masadi into their team is just going to help them. And yeah, this is great value in my opinion, Bill.
Yeah.
He's a attacking player. Talk about the attacking abilities. He can put that ball away in any angle. So
yeah,
this is a great pick.
And having the New York Knights, having any New York team be good in a league is good. It's East Coast bias on my part, but if New York's good, the league is good.
I mean, I got some bias with New York teams as well, as I'm based out of New York right now. Could not be more happy with this pick. And I feel that also, let's think about it in the player's perspective. I feel that they're a lot more inclined to show up with the availability if you got an opportunity to be wined and dined in New York from the owners, right?
I don't know. They've been treating us pretty well here in Cleveland, though, Sean.
But we're quickly moving along with the draft here, but we're going to shift right back to Ryan Leslie.
All right, we're in the second round, 10th pick overall between both drafts, and the Nashville Crushers have selected a young gun, we believe, from Pakistan. Give it up for Noor Zaman. Noor Zaman heading to Nashville Crushers. Seattle Freeze, you're on the clock.
Noor Zaman, wow. I mean, he's a great pick. I was reaming about him in the podcast where I did with BG for the NSL podcast. He's such an upcoming player. There's been so many players, especially this season, Bill, who have been the young players who are not even 21 or around 21 and younger, who are kind of storming up the rankings, which we haven't seen in a while. Even though a lot of other sports, you see these young players moving up the rankings. But Noor Zaman, recently in the Karachi Open, beating First Suzuki, which caused a lot of controversy, but nonetheless was able to get wins over him and made it to quarterfinals. And he's moving up the rankings very quickly from Pakistan. Always great to have, with the history they have, a good young player upcoming from Pakistan. So very excited about where he's going to be in the next 5 years. I think I look at this pick as an investment pick, Bill. Maybe his rankings might not be as high as Mohamed El Shorbagy or Masadi, but he's coming up. They're looking at the big picture here is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough to see him. I was at Open Squash at their tournament this past October. Got to see him up close. Didn't see him play. I saw him play one match on the glass court, but saw him play on the traditional courts, and he was marquee. There was just some great matches. He had an incredible matchup against Gregoire Marsh. Put us 2 hours behind, but it was well worth every moment of it. Just very exciting, a very dynamic player, like you said. I wasn't familiar with him going into that tournament, but I'm certainly familiar with him now.
Looking forward to his progress, not only in the NSL and how he acts, because he's got incredible hands, but also the PSA Tour as I follow along. You and I follow along as well.
Definitely. So, so far, Sean, I mean, we're not even halfway through this draft. There's been a lot of picks, a lot of teams reshaping the way they're going to, what they're going to put on the court this year. So, can't wait to see what's next.
And back to Ryan Leslie for the next pick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Seattle Freeze has made their pick. But beforehand, we have a raffle, and the raffle is a Dunlop giveaway. If you have a raffle ticket, I'm going to draw a number. I don't think any raffle I've ever done in the 3 years of my NSL, we've got it right on the first one. So please have your raffle ticket ready to go. And if you hear your number called, please come get your Dunlop giveaway. Otherwise, I will take it home and play bad squash with it. With that said, raffle ticket number for a Dunlop giveaway. 288008. Hey, there we go. Kind of fitting. Mr. Dirk Dunlap getting the Dunlop giveaway. This is our M4 sponsor. Please give it up for Mr. Dunlap. Dirk Dunlap. Oh, I have another one? Oh, crap. All right, here we go. Let's just learn that. All right, here we go. You have another shot. I think I just grabbed the same ticket twice. All right, here we go. 288015. Henry. Come on, Henry. All right, Celia's going to, here we go. Henry. Dude, Henry's having himself an absolute day. During the exhibition, he hit the ball closest to the water bottle. He got a racket. He got a water bottle. Now he's got a bag. Man, we got to get this kid a Dunlop sponsorship and a lottery ticket for some reason. Get him a lottery ticket. You can. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, the draft. Seattle Freeze are picking. Seattle, I know you're watching the game over there, but you're winning 7-0, and San Francisco just fumbled the ball. I hope you don't fumble this pick. With that said, going to Seattle is Nada Abbas. Greenwich Panthers, you're on the clock.
Sean, 25 years of age, just a spectacular, spectacular player. So fast, so quick, and again, just such a lovely, lovely young lady, 14th ranked in the world, Nada Abbas, joining Tinne Gilis out in Seattle. A great start to the new franchise.
I mean, I personally think these two teams, New York Queens and Seattle Freeze, have such an advantage here, especially with how top-heavy, again, as I mentioned earlier, the women's draft is, and to have someone like Nada Abbas, which is one of my favorite players to watch, just in terms of aesthetically, the swing, her dynamic game. I mean, I remember she's Stuart Crawford's now the head coach of the UK now in England. Is one of his favorite players to watch, and good to see she's kind of returning back from injury from last season. She's been working her way back for a year now, and she's fully cemented herself back in the top 15 here. But
gritty player.
Yeah,
in Pakistan, she fell ill. She actually spent the night in the hospital after her quarterfinal, came back the next morning, played her semifinal. So just a gritty, tough player coming back from injury. Great choice.
Yeah, they're now. You're looking at Tinne Gilis as your first-round pick, and now Nada Abbas as your second-round pick. That's very impressive. They're looking to challenge Philadelphia for their crown.
If I hadn't spent all my money on Grizzly season tickets, I might buy preseason tickets.
Bill might just buy all the season tickets.
Might buy all the season tickets. See if I could get a discount. We're going to go back and Ryan Leslie for the next pick.
All right, we're back here. Seattle just made their pick as they continue to move the ball down the field in Seattle. Greenwich Panthers making their first pick of this draft. He played today in the squash in the land event in a hard-fought battle. Unfortunately, did not take the victory against a very strong Mr. Paul Cole, hailing from France. Heading over to Greenwich. Please give it up for Gregoire Marsh. Heading to Greenwich. Next on the clock, the Queens. You are on the clock.
Sean, we're pretty much seeing the who's who of the PSA Tour right now being picked for the NSL. Gregoire Marsh, I think I told the story on my podcast. I didn't know Gregoire Marsh that well. I had a couple awkward run-ins with him in tournaments that I've emceed, and then I got to know him last year during the NSL matches that, spent the weekend with him, talked to him a ton. What a great kid. Well, I call him a kid. He's 35 years of age. Little known fact, Greg Marsh is one of the best cooks on the PSA Tour.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
How about that?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I know he's one of the best golfers, too, on the tour. I mean, he's a man of many talents, but, I mean, look at the strength now with the Greenwich Panthers. I feel like if you have someone like Mustafa Sol, clearly the best player on the tour right now, and you now look at what they went from last year with Sanjay Jiva. No disrespect to Sanjay Jiva, but you now got Greg Marsh kind of stabilizing the team, kind of just any attempts to dismobilize that from opponents. Greg Marsh is coming in there to kind of level the playing field out. So this is a huge upgrade for them for the second round, and I can see why they dropped the second-round pick with Sanjay Jiva now.
Yeah, it is great disrespect to Sanjay Jiva. Let's not sugarcoat it, Sean. I mean, you could drop him in the NSL team. It's great disrespect. You could try to gloss it over all you want. But I think Gregoire Marsh, if you were, any PSA fan, if they had Sanjay Jiva sitting there, Gregoire Marsh sitting there, I think 9 out of 10 people are going to point there and say, I want Gregoire Marsh on my team.
That's absolutely true. But we'll move on to the next round with Ryan Leslie.
The New York Queens have made their selection. Before we give out the selection for the New York Queens, we would like to welcome U.S. Squash Representative, Senior Manager of Partnerships and Development. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Anderson Good.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you so much, Spencer. So thrilled to be able to be here. And it's just such a great time to be able to be here at the NSL draft. You know, the NSL is so representative of growth and innovation, and that's why we at US Squash are so excited to be able to announce our partnership with the NSL. We look forward to it to be able to collectively grow our game. And it's been great to be able to watch Spencer step into the full-time CEO role and take this league into a new future. And we are excited to be able to work with the NSL, work together, and grow our great game in the United States. But speaking of CEOs, we at US Squash, just to give you an update on what we're doing, we've recently hired Molly Marcoux-Simon, as you may have heard, the former commissioner of the LPGA and director of athletics at Princeton. So we are incredibly excited to bring her on board and look forward to an exciting new era at US Squash. And then coupled with Molly, our partnership with Octagon, a very successful sports agency, especially in the Olympic sports space, and their managing director, Peter Carlisle. Right now, ultimately, squash's place in sports business has never been better, and we're so excited for the future for so many reasons, our partnership with the NSL included. And you just take a look at our recent history, the 2025 Comcast Business US Open. It was the most watched US Open ever. It was the most engaged with US Open ever on social media. And lastly, saw squash's debut on Peacock. And as everybody here knows, the LA 28 Olympics, we are so excited about that, and planning is ongoing. But also a top priority for ours right now is ensuring that we also have inclusion in Brisbane in 2032. So we are actively working with the Pro Squash Tour, the World Squash, and Squash Australia to be able to leverage everything that we can, transmit lessons learned from the LA 28 planning process, and hopefully see us in Australia in 2032. But ultimately, thank you so much, Spencer. Thank you so much to everybody in this room and the NSL. We are so thrilled to be able to partner with the NSL, and thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you, Anderson. Great straight address there. And with that, the New York Queens selected from Wales, Miss Tesney Murphy. Tesney heading to the New York Queens as we make the final pick for round number 2, the Grizzlies, Chicago Grizzlies. You are on the clock.
Absolutely love that pick. Love Tesney Murphy. Of some veteran leadership onto this team. Noron's a smart coach. She knows it'd be nice to pick a lot of young players, have them throw out there. You throw out a favorite Albuquerque, still young, only 19 years of age. Tesney Murphy, 33 years of age, 3-time British national champion. Just a wonderful, wonderful player. So much fun to be around. She is tenacious. Tenacious Tesney.
That's a great alliteration that you just made up there, Bill.
Thank you. I just made it up.
Wow. I love this pick. I'm a huge fan of her game. Very smooth with the racket. And just kind of having a resurgence this past year back in the rankings. I mean, right now she says she's ranked 25. I believe she's at 23. She's someone that I think should be in the top 20 at the very least. I mean, that kind of just speaks to the volume of the depth of the women's tour right now. But she's got class. She's got character. She's going to kind of rile up others as well. So very much so looking to see her in action. And you made a great point, Bill, to kind of balance out. There's so many young talents in this draft, especially on the women's side, to kind of pair it up with a veteran leadership is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I'm going to be emceeing all the New York matches, and while it would be great to go out and have a beer, I can't really go have a beer with Fairuz Albuquerque, seeing she's 19 years old. Tesney Murphy, Guinness, a lot of Irish pubs right around, Fidei. Selfishly, that's why I like the pick.
I see. Not that any of the players will be drinking.
No, of course not.
Of course not.
No,
of course not.
No, definitely not. And nor will the MC. All right, Ryan Leslie, back to the podium.
Round number 2 is coming to a conclusion with our 14th pick of the evening between both drafts. The Chicago Grizzlies are making their pick to finish out round number 2. Hailing from Egypt, a very, very exciting player on the tour. The Squash Falcon himself, give it up for Mazen Hashem. Mazen heading to the Chicago Grizzlies. That concludes round number 2. We will take a short little break here, and we will be back with the beginning of round number 3, where the New York Queens are on the clock.
Meet Dakota Marketplace, built by fundraisers for fundraisers. It's a complete, accurate, and ever-updated database. Stay current on job and role changes to be notified when your prospect or client leaves a firm. Stay up to date on fundraising news. Access our metro area's feature allows you to quickly identify a city that you are traveling to and all of the prospects within that city broken out by channel. All of this
Nope. Nope. Sorry. Who won the football?
Wow, Mazen Hashem, Bill. A bit of a gamble. If it hits, it's going to be massive.
Yep.
If it doesn't, I'm a bit worried, but Bill, I want to kind of get your thoughts first before we kind of dive into it, because this is massive. This is a huge name.
Sure. Actually, Mazen just played in this tournament. I saw Mazen at the U.S. Open. Was the last time I saw him play live. He had some heavy, heavy knee braces on. He looked a little bit slow, and I was like, are we seeing the end of Mazen Hashem's career? Saw him at the airport, actually. Funny enough, we were going down to get our Uber. He was picking up, headed out, from Cleveland to his next stop. And I said, how are the knees? He says they feel great. He played without knee braces here. I think the secret sauce is him and Karim Gawad are buddies. They're great friends. So I think the chemistry there is really going to push the Grizzlies to the next level. They are two different players, but they are as a team.
Fantastic.
Gentlemen, we begin round number 3 with the New York Queens filling out their team currently. Young stud from Egypt. Please give it up. Heading to New York, Noor Haikal. Noor Haikal to the New York Queens. And again, the Chicago Grizzlies are on the clock. You're on the clock, Chicago.
I think it's Noor Haikal, but it could be Noor Haikal, I suppose. Thank you, Ryan. Doing your best to pronounce these Egyptian names. I appreciate it. Noor Haikal, another Alexandrian, just like Fayrouz Albakir, 22 years of age, a couple years older than Albakir, but another great player, another Egyptian. Noran Garhar going Egyptian, Welsh, Egyptian.
I don't know if that's going to be the combo for the rest of the night with the nationality availability there, but great pick. I mean, I'm just going to, whatever it is for the New York Queens, I'm just going to trust that Noran Gohar knows exactly what she's doing. And if anything, she probably has way more inside info. And Noor Haikal, 22 years old, she's very much so an upcomer. If you've seen her matches, she does strike the ball very hard. So it's going to be very exciting to see her in this format. And also, again, any young player, it's going to be a long-term investment here. So
Yeah,
we'll
for
see
su-
how this goes.
For sure, and getting Fairuz Abakar in the first round, and then you have Noor Heikel, two Egyptians, both coming over from Egypt for the matches, travel partners, makes it easier to make that trip over for the matches, makes it like a little less stressful.
That's a great point, Bill.
Bill's making a lot of great points tonight.
So, I mean, they're in great position right now, New York Queens. I mean, what a draft position they're in to have the first-round pick, and now the back-to-back with Tesney Murphy and Noor now. So this is going to be great. But back
to Ryan Leslie.
The Chicago Grizzlies are making their next pick, as Judson is telling me to let everybody know that after there are no more substitution and no more power plays, it's just squash. Thank you, Judson, for reminding me of that. The Chicago Grizzlies have selected one of the most heated players on tour, if you will. From England, Mr. Simon Herbert. Simon Herbert heading to the Chicago Grizzlies. Seattle Freeze, you're on the clock.
Simon Herbert getting passed around this league like a sweater nobody wants that they got for Christmas. Just another team. Simon Herbert, what I like about him, he's going to be angry again. He's going to play angry. He's going to come in and say, you dropped me, I'm going to get a little revenge on you. Have you been following Simon Herbert's Instagram?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Fantastic. I would say Matthias Knudsen and Simon Herbert are probably, on the men's side, have the most prolific social media going now. Simon Herbert's are very, very funny. Belies his intensity. He shows a big sense of humor in his Instagram, but he is a very intense player.
Oh, I love this pick. I mean, his name has been thrown around, as you mentioned. There's a lot of controversy behind him with how heated he could get, but every year he gets selected.
Yeah.
And there's got to be something to be said about that. The owners know his value and what he can bring to the table, and when he's on, he's very much so on.
Yeah, my tortured Christmas reference. He's like the Yankee swap gift that keeps getting stolen, or it ends up at the end of the night you want to trade him. But I love Simon Herbert.
Yeah, and I mean he's also a player who's looking to still move up the rankings, and he's looking a lot of room for improvement here. Yeah. And every squash match is an opportunity for him to get better. So let's very optimistic, not only in his NSL career but also his PSA. He's still one of those young upcoming players. So let's not forget that fact. But we'll kind of shift it over back to the draft as Seattle Freeze has the next round here.
You like these awkward pauses, huh, Sean? When they tell us that we have to talk more, we really have nothing to talk about.
I'm timing it
right,
purposely.
You're doing solid. You're doing solid.
The Seattle Freeze, third round, 17th pick overall of the evening between both drafts. From Egypt, the Seattle Freeze are selecting Mariam Metwali. Mariam Metwali heading to Seattle. Next on the clock, the Louisville Colts. You're on the clock.
Egypt dominating the draft. Mariam Metwali. Love Mariam Metwali. She's such a nice woman. She's so much fun. 29 years of age, rank 34. Very, very solid player. What can I say? It's a great choice. Great third-round pick.
Can't go wrong there. I mean, she's got a very tall frame too. So whether it be the defensive end of it on a power play, I think she'll be fantastic. She's 29 years old. She's a proven veteran. She's been around on the tour for a long time now.
Yeah.
So it should be a great pick for this new franchise here. So let's kind of look at this team so far. We got Mariam in round 3. We got Nada Abbas in round 2. And Tinne Gilis in round 1, this team kind of is beginning really to take shape here, Bill.
Yeah, very, very, very strong. Mariam, I mean, she had such promise coming out of the juniors. She was a junior world championship finalist, right? And it's interesting, these Egyptian players, so many of them have stellar junior careers, but once they get to that next level, they find out how tough it is. Mariam has stayed on the tour for a long time. She's not as highly ranked as she probably thought she would be, but still a very, very solid player and a very, very tough out in any draw she enters.
That's a great point.
Great point, Bill.
As always.
Yeah. It's 3 times you've told me great point. I appreciate it.
Well, a bad point's about to happen. So.
Yeah, I might just lean back the rest of this and just let you take over the draft, Sean.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the 18th overall pick, Louisville Colts, made their selection, played in the squash in the land recently with the entire Louisville team, owners, children, wives are up here ready for this pick. And Judson, don't forget Judson, star of the show. Conrad, if you'd like to make your way in there as well. There you go. There we go. Team Dunlop. Give it up from India, Mr. Veer Chotrade. Veer is heading to Louisville. DC Inferno, you're on the clock.
You could tell we were ready for that pick.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was ready.
Adjust your headphones, Sean. Adjust your headphones. Veer Chotrade.
I'm going to do an interview.
Oh, that's a great pick.
All right. Uh-oh.
Veer, Mr. Veer Chotrade. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with newly selected Louisville Colt, Veer Chotrade. Veer, you're heading to Louisville. You've been there a few times. It seems like you like the place. They seem to treat you pretty well over there. And you were dropped by the Atlanta Tornadoes and Chad Hood. How'd you feel about the drop?
That's okay. I mean, it's a part of the sport. I'm just happy. I mean, Louisville's my OG team. You know, I was with them first season, and I'm happy to be back with them. And I love Louisville. Always have a good time there, and being on a team with Leo and arguably the greatest of this generation, Mohamed El Shorbagy, is a privilege and honor for me. So I'm just happy that I can learn so much from these guys and be a part of the team with them. So it's going to be fun.
The city of Louisville is here. You just took a photo with them. And what do you intend to bring that they've not seen? Because they are extremely dry of a playoff run. So they kind of have high hopes. Do you think that you can handle the pressure? Are you ready to bring Louisville a championship?
Like you've heard, pressure is privilege, right? And yeah, I think we have a good mix. I think Leo is, one of the best defenders we have. Mo is good at everything. And I'll try to get my nicks in there. So I think it'll be a good mix, yeah.
Well, good luck this season, ladies and gentlemen. Veer joins Leo. And from England, Mohamed El Shorbagy. Remember, he's from England, guys. And with that, the Inferno, you're on the clock.
Veer Chotrade. Bill.
We're ready. We were ready for that
Full
pick.
circle moment here as he's coming back to his season 1 team. What do we think?
Sean, if you love something, you set it free. If it comes back, it loves you, and if it wasn't, it's meant to be, or something. There's some saying like that. I don't know. Veer Chotrade back in Louisville. That's all I have to say. I don't think we were quite prepared for that.
No, this is an excellent pick. Veer, I think, is still scratching the surface of his explosive potential, and I think we see glimpses of it. He's still very young. I mean, what a college career he's had, and he's very smoothly transitioned over to the PSA. And I think with these unreal expectations we have because of the likes of like Yusuf Ibrahim, Victor, and Ali Abu, Veer's one of those players who I think does have the potential, and we've seen it. I want to cite back to that Ali Farag match last year in the World Championships.
Right.
We kind of saw it when everything is clicking and all cylinders are clicking. He is a very dangerous threat, and he has top 10 potential, in my opinion. I don't say that lightly, Bill. I don't say that about every player.
No, absolutely. And character is a big part of this game, and he has it in spades.
Yeah. He's passionate about the sport.
Yep.
He's passionate about the NSL, and he's going to give it all. And with how this team is stacked, it should be a great mix here with the chemistry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the DC Inferno have made their pick. DC Inferno were also in the playoffs last year. See if they can make it back to the playoffs this year. They had dropped one player, that was Lisa Aitken. So this is the Inferno's first pick after the drop to be joining Amanda Sobey, Jasmine Hutton, Rachel Arnold, and Marie Stefan. Player dropped from another team. One team's trash is another team's treasure. Give it up from Egypt. Rowan El Arabi heading to DC Inferno. Coming to the end of round number 3, the Atlanta Tornadoes. Final pick. You're on the clock.
Wow, Bill. Wow. Just wow. To have Rowan to now DC Inferno after having that final being played out. She's got a chip on her shoulder now. I mean, this is a great, great pick. I mean, she's a perennial top 10 player to go in round 3 who's still young, who just unfortunately had an unfortunate injury. No one's writing her off. It's just she's taking time off the sport right now, but she'll be back, and I have no doubt in my mind that she'll be back at that top 10. So maybe DC Inferno think they have the luxury to kind of take this year to kind of hope for their team to be without her. Or maybe have her towards the end of the season and have an explosive player coming in.
She's
round 3.
back in the PSA draws already.
My goodness.
She's back. She's back on tour. Don't know where her foot's at. I mean, she did have major surgery. I think it started as a small injury. It turned into something a lot more serious. I think she was out a lot longer than she wanted to be. But Tinkerbell, again, she's one of those junior players, just was ready to take over the tour when she came out. Really was one of the people who was giving the Hamamis, the Gohars, the Sherbinis a tough time. Kind of before Orphe, there was Al Arabi, right?
Great
so
point, yeah.
So the tour needs her back. The NSL would be very lucky to have her. The PSA Tour desperately needs Tinkerbell back. The NSL is so lucky to have her, and I think the DC Inferno very lucky to have her.
This is massive value to me in 3rd round.
Yeah.
This is massive.
Yeah.
And I guess DC Inferno can afford it with the team they have.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We'll go to the next round now.
All right, we're back here to conclude round number 3. Round number 3 going to the Atlanta Tornadoes. The Atlanta Tornadoes had only kept Miguel Rodriguez and Mohamed Sharaf. And so with that, they had taken first with their team was Mr. Nick Matthew. And now the Tornadoes have selected, I think maybe based on what I'm seeing between Miguel and Nick, and now this pick, kind of like a Legends team, if you will, which I don't know if that's good or bad for the NSL. I guess we're going to find out this year. With that said, final pick of round number 3, heading to Atlanta from Egypt, Mr. Omar Mossad. Omar Mossad, the Hammer of Thor, heading to Atlanta. That concludes round number 3. Round number 3 has come to a conclusion. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with the 4th round, in which the Seattle Freeze will be making their pick. Seattle Freeze, you're on the clock. It's also at this point that I encourage everyone to get a cocktail and a drink and really start having some fun, because that's what this league's all about. We'll be right back.
Meet Dakota Marketplace, built by fundraisers for fundraisers. It's a complete, accurate, and ever-updated database. Stay current on job and role changes to be notified when your prospect or client leaves a firm. Stay up to date on fundraising news. Access our metro area's feature, which allows you to quickly identify a city that you're traveling to, and all of the qualified prospects within that city broken out by channel. All of this updated in real time. Request a demo and see how we make fundraising easier.
Welcome back to the NSL draft. The Atlanta Tornado starting a youth movement by drafting 37-year-old Omar Masad in addition to 45-year-old Nick Matthew, 40-year-old Miguel Angel Rodriguez, and now going young with the 37-year-old, the Hammer of Thor, Omar Masad.
I hear they have a 10-year project in mind right now with these 3 players. Bill, I don't know if you had some inside info here, but you kind of hinted at this a possibility here, and it just bang on here.
Yeah, I mean, did I guess at that, or did somebody whisper in my ear, Sean? We'll never know. Bill has some sources. Some much to the chagrin of a lot of players on the PSA Tour, Bill has a lot of sources that he tells things that probably he shouldn't. This is one of those things that's more fun, though, and the fact that I kind of broke the news ahead of time, I think, is kind of the part of the joy of the NSL draft. But awesome to have Omar Masad in the NSL. Again, just a great person, character pick, and also just a great player. Working with Amina Orfi, great to have him still involved with squash.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in round number 4, beginning round number 4 with the Seattle Freeze. And with that, I also have a fun little giveaway that we're going to do. M4 is one of our brand new sponsors. They are making our jerseys, so M4 really appreciate the sponsorship of all of our jerseys this year. Everybody that's in attendance, we have our great staffer, Celia Pashley, walking around, handing out a ticket. Everybody is going to make a guess. Whoever is closest with the guess will receive the M4 package giveaway. And with that, the M4 giveaway is going to be based on whoever guesses the closest to this question. Who, in the match of the quarterfinal between Jasmine Hutton and Malik Kafegi that went 3-2, 12-10 in the 5th, how many squash balls were hit throughout the entire match? So you need to guess how many balls were hit throughout the entire match. Whoever is the closest. Yeah, how many times was the ball struck in the match? I can tell you it's not like 15. So with that, we move into round number 4. The Seattle Freeze, filling out their team. Give a round of applause. Heading to Seattle is Hannah Craig. Hannah Craig is heading to Seattle. That puts the defending champion Lightning on the clock.
'67 in the world, 26 years of age, former Harvard star Hannah Craig from Ireland. Welcome to the NSL.
Wow, you just ripped off her bio there, Bill.
Yeah, how about that?
She's great. She's based out in Open Squash in New York. And I could be stand corrected here, but I believe she kind of decided to pursue the professional route more recent, not right after Harvard. She had, that team over there in Harvard during that time.
Can you imagine?
So it's still a dynasty on the women's side, but was unbelievable, the team they put together there. I think it's one of those historic teams in terms of just like pure squash skill-wise. It's one of the best teams put together for them. But love to see her pursuing the professional route, and she's already making inroads, ranked 67. This is a great pick in my opinion, not because for round 4 players, I think availability is going to be a big thing here. They're going to come in a lot of matches, Bill, where maybe the round 1, round 2 player is missing, and you want a quality player who you know is going to be able to show up in these matches.
Right.
Maybe they're not the highest ranked player, but Hannah is going to be moving up the rankings as well as going to be available for a lot of these matches as well, with the distance she has to cover with a lot of these matches for travel.
Yeah, I'm a Hannah Craig fan. Seattle Freeze obviously sees the potential in her. A great pick. Seattle Freeze, the expansion franchise, looking very strong for the 2026 season.
All right, we are heading in, and we are actually in the 4th round with defending champions Philadelphia Lightning. Hello, Judson. He paid me to say his name. So with that, we are going to bring up the coach of the defending national squash league champion, Mr. B.G. Lemon. Good job, Spencer. Mr. B.G. Lemon. Everybody welcome head coach of the Philadelphia Lightning to make their pick. I'll let you have the trophy and, yeah, just take it.
Thanks, Ryan, as always, for doing this. First off, like I said, it's always good to be, like Sunil said, the position of champion. We had a great time last year in Philadelphia, no doubt. As you can maybe tell, maybe I take this around with me too much. And I don't intend for that to change at all. So with that said, with our 4th round pick this year, he recently came to Philadelphia actually and put on quite the display at the Comcast Business US Open with his quarterfinal run. We have 2 English players already on our team, and shout out to Mohamed El Shorbagy, who just won the silver tournament out in Detroit. Played very well against Diego Elias. And now adding to our unbelievable English roster, we are taking Curtis Malik from England with our first pick.
Thank you, BG. And I just have a quick question. What is the shirt that you're wearing for those that may or may not know?
Right, I'm glad you asked, Ryan. We're in Cleveland, and we beat Cleveland in the finals last year. And I thought, like I said, we don't intend to lose the trophy that we have that Ryan's holding. We don't intend to win just 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. I'll leave it at that number. For those that know, they know. But Philadelphia's hoping to win again for this year.
Good job, BG. Okay, next on the clock is the Atlanta Tornadoes. Atlanta, you are on the clock.
Sean, I mean, fine. Great pick by them. I don't really care. I think the big news is that Mohamed El Shorbagy just beat Diego Elias in Detroit. That is incredible.
That is a shock. You and I looked at each other. And
I mean, what a win for Marwan. I mean, going into the TOC, that's probably as big a win. I mean, to beat Diego Elias is a huge deal. Diego coming back from injury. It was his first tournament back. Traditional court, so that always makes a little bit of difference. But you almost think a traditional court would favor Diego Elias a lot. Sorry, Curtis Malik. We're not giving you the shine you want. Age 26, ranked 24th. That's awesome. But Mohamed El Shorbagy just beat Diego Elias in Detroit. Awesome.
I mean, this is great news for Philadelphia, Bill. I mean, to have Marwan in peak form, Abu Elgar in peak form this season. I'm going to think that Diego's still ramping up for the TOC, so maybe this wasn't him at 100%. But regardless, for Marwan, I know Diego's had Marwan's number for the past couple of years now, so that's going to be great. Confidence booster. But real quick, before we give no shout to Curtis Malik, who made the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open, ranked not 24, already up to 22 now.
Okay.
Now you have strapped the defending champions with someone ranked inside the top 10, someone who's at the cusp of top 10, who plays at a top 10 level, and now Curtis Malik, a young upcoming Englishman, to replace Charlie Lee, who kind of only, I heard from BG, was only dropped because of his retirement. This team is looking primed for another championship here, Bill, but let's move on to the next pick here.
Here we are, the Atlanta Tornadoes, filling out their beginning of their roster. Like we said, we already discussed the legends that they have taken. Their next pick, the Atlanta Tornadoes have selected Ivan Perez. Mr. Ivan Perez is heading to Atlanta. With that puts the Queens back on the clock. Queens, you're on the clock.
Ivan Perez, what a run he's just had in the Andorra Open earlier in November last year. He's been quietly going about his business. He doesn't do the social medias as much as other players, so might need some helping with branding, and I think this NSL entrance is going to do just that. But I cannot speak more highly of him. Very intense player, works incredibly hard out of the Barcelona Academy there. It's a huge, just want to give them a shout out because they've been producing some fantastic players there. But just to give you guys a bit of information on him, he's just had to run through to beat Declan James, Pat Rooney, and Greg Marsh. And the value they're getting out of him in this round is going to be incredible. So he's a great player hailing from Spain. Spain's had an abundance of players of talent right now, with also Bernat Jama in this draft pool as well. So this is good as the NSL takes an international stage here, Bill.
I don't really have a lot to add to that because I'm not that familiar with Mr. Perez. Could you tell me, where's Andorra? I looked on the PSA website when they showed the Andorra Open, because I go on the PSA website often to see what tournaments are coming up, and it kept saying the Andorra Open. There was no information. Where is Andorra? Anybody listening out there who has my WhatsApp me, where is Andorra?
It's in southern Western Europe from my quick
Southern Western Europe.
Which
It's
doesn't
very
answer
specific.
anything for
Very
me.
specific. So yeah. So better branding for the Andorra Open going forward. Maybe let us know what city it's in, what continent it's on, where it is. So, but
And-
congratulations, Ivan Perez. Or Ivan Perez.
But on to the next.
The Queens of New York. New York Queens. Oh, it's a borough. Is that why you're the Queens? Oh, my goodness. The New York Queens have selected another young rising star from Egypt, Nardine Gilis. Nardine heading to the New York Queens. And their brotherly team, partner, whatever you want to call them. I almost said brotherly shove, which it does not. The New York Knights, you're on the clock.
22 years of age, ranked 43rd in the world, won the London Open this year. That's an underrated pick.
It is an underrated
She is very, very solid. Another Egyptian going to the Queens. So Tesney Murphy. Tesney going to have to shepherd these young Egyptians, show her leadership, take a little of that Wales grit, turn it into these young Egyptians, and to lead the Queens to the title.
There's something to be said about this Queens team strategy right now, which I allude to on and on again about Noreen Goer. Clearly, she has a better picture about these young upcoming Egyptians here, and that's yet another young and upcoming Egyptian that's been taken off the draft pool. It's clearly that Noreen Goer has an influence here, and she's, as you mentioned, Bill, has had a great run this past year with the London Open. She's had wins over Holly Naughton this year as well, who's a proven veteran in the top 20, top 30 as well. So it should be a fantastic pick as they're looking to build not only for this year, but onto the next couple years ahead. They're looking at the big picture here.
Yeah, I mean, that's some good research done by that team. They know, somebody knew what they were doing. That's not a pick that I would have forecasted. I don't think you had her in your mock draft going there. So that was just a fantastic pick by the Queens.
They know more than us.
They knew, a lot of people know more than us, Sean.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
But
We've made it. We're halfway through round 4, Sean. Only 1.5 more rounds to go.
And our phones aren't blowing up.
Our phones
with
are not blowing up.
misinformation.
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knights have made their pick. And we have our M4 squash giveaway. We had a tiebreaker that was figured out. 2 people had guessed very, very close. The correct answer for how many balls was hit in that match was 890 was the correct answer. And Mr. Ali Pirali from Seattle had guessed 889. So he was off by 1, and this is the winner of our M4 giveaway. Off by 1. This is an absolute knower of ball knower, Mr. Ali Pirali. Congratulations on your M4 giveaway. Also, remember, thank you very much to our sponsors, Dirk Dunlap of M4, for their partnership with the National Squash League. M4, fitting you. Here we go. New York Knights have selected Mr. from Egypt, I hope, Mohamed El Shorbagy. Mohamed El Shorbagy heading to the New York Knights. The final pick of round number 4 is the Louisville Colts. You're on the clock.
33 years of age, Mohamed El Shorbagy. Just 2 years ago, he was ranked 15th in the world. Very, very solid pick. My only concern with Mohamed El Shorbagy is, and kudos for Ryan for he caught his mistake with Mohamed El Shorbagy when he said he was hopefully from Egypt. Mohamed El Shorbagy has a very peculiar issue. He can't play when he smells food cooking on the court. So I've been to many tournaments with him, and there's been like the hospitality area too close to the court. He literally stops play and complains to the referee that he could smell food. Have you ever heard of anything like that on the PSA Tour? Yeah, it's very, very odd.
Well, this is big information for the New York Knights here.
Yeah.
I don't know if they knew this, but if they are tuning into this, make sure the Open Squash facility has none of that.
Yeah, Houston, he actually stepped off court in Houston and went to the ref and said, I can't continue playing because I smell French fries.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
That is,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only kind of information you get from me, Sean. You could watch these squash stories. You could watch like Daily Squash Report. You're not going to get that kind of stuff there. I'm just telling you right now.
And Bill's here with always leading the information here.
Yeah.
With the best.
Absolutely.
Best and only.
Absolutely.
So.
Another good kid though, like good guy, just really fun to be around. Really like enthusiastic about the sport, and just a very good pick. He'll be really fun to have at your
just
club.
to say, a former top 15 player in your round 4.
Yeah. Just don't open the window so the restaurant smells get into the court.
In New York.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Louisville Colts have made the final pick of round number 4, filling out some more of their team. Please give a round of applause for the Switzerland man himself, Mr. Nicolas Müller. Nicky Müller heading to the Louisville Colts. That concludes round number 4. We will take a short break. Again, I highly encourage everybody to get a cocktail or a drink, or preferably a glass of Mira wine. Head out there. We will take a short break between rounds 4 and rounds 5. The New York Queens are on the clock as we take our break and get our cocktails.
Meet Dakota Marketplace. Built by fundraisers for fundraisers. It's a complete, accurate, and ever-updated database. Stay current on job and role changes to be notified when a prospect or client leaves a firm. Stay up to date on fundraising news. Access our metro areas feature, which allows you to quickly identify a city that you are traveling to, and all of the qualified prospects within that city broken out by channel. All of this updated in real time. Request a demo and see how we make fundraising easier.
Nicolas Müller, I thought he would go to Atlanta. 36 years of age. Nicolas Müller was 13th in the world in 2022. I don't even know if I could count. I don't have enough fingers on my hands or my toes, I don't believe, to count how many Swiss national championships he's won. Great guy, another great golfer, obviously, and also a very dynamic player. He actually, it's interesting with Nicky Müller, all joking aside, that every once in a while he'll step on court and against a big player, give them a good first game. So he could take a first game off of Mustafa Sall. It's, obviously he's a little older now, so he doesn't have the staying power he used to have. Could translate well to be a sleeper pick in the NSL.
I think that's a great. I couldn't
say it. Say a great point.
Couldn't
Bill.
agree
say
with
Come
you
on.
more.
Come on,
that's
Sean.
a great point, Bill.
Thank you.
I think if you're looking at the NSL format, I don't think there's anyone more suited to it than Nicky Müller here. You give him a crowd. I mean, you look at the events he's performed. It's the ones that are a packed house, like the TOC, where he's had such good events. So the Colts really need to put up a good crowd for him, because when they do, he's going to be thriving under it. But
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 more rounds, which means that we are heading into round number 5. And the New York Queens have made their selection to kick us off. Hailing from Norway, please give a round of applause for Madeline Hyland. Madeline Hyland heading to the New York Queens. Kicking out again, round number 5, Chicago Grizzlies. You are on the clock.
From Norway, Madeline Highland. I mean, she's in this round. I think it's imperative that it's, again, not to have, I don't know how many times I've said this, Bill, now, but availability. She's based in the U.S.
Good points, Sean.
Couldn't agree with you
I had to say
more.
it at least once.
Couldn't agree with you more here. But
couldn't agree with you more. That was a great point, Sean.
yeah, she's going to be great. She's from the Trinity team. I know that I did that podcast with BG where we kind of did a deep dive on her, where she's graduated from Trinity and now she's based in the U.S., I believe. So it should be good if the New York Queens. I mean, I think they've picked a lot of players from Egypt, so that's going to be a long travel. So I definitely foresee a scenario where a lot of their players can't make it. And also, Tesney's not from the U.S. either, so this should be one of those picks where you need to make sure that they can show up and you're not scrapping last minute for someone that's available and that could be nowhere near Madeline's level.
Yeah, big day for Trinity Squash today. You think Mohamed El Shorbagy beating Diego Elias was big squash news. Trinity College stopped University of Pennsylvania today, the 2-time defending champions in the Collegiate Squash Association.
I heard, I mean, it was a close 5-4 battle from what I heard.
Yeah, I think that it's more of a case that we don't know a lot about Madeline Highland, so we throw other squash news in.
I knew plenty.
You did really good. I looked at you and I said, I don't really know who that is.
I mean, that's the point of the NSL. They're going to get to be known throughout.
She can't play when she smells food. How's that? I'll throw that out. You know what? That's my new fact about every player that I don't know anything about. Great point, Bill.
That's a great point, Bill.
All right, we're back. The second pick, 28th overall between both combined drafts. The Chicago Grizzlies, a team that actually dropped everybody but Sam Todd, and are now filling out their team even further. The Chicago Grizzlies have selected from Egypt, again, I hope, would be Mr. Kareem El Torki. Kareem El Torki heading to Chicago. That puts the Seattle Freeze on the clock.
Young player, Kareem El Torki. I love the pick. I'm going to go out on a limb right now, Sean. I'm taking the Chicago Grizzlies to win the 2026 NSL Championship. It's the year of Chicago. The Chicago Bears, the Chicago Grizzlies.
That's an ambitious take, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm a bit dubious. I'm a bit skeptical about this pick, to be honest with you, Bill. I feel like Chicago Grizzlies have drafted well in previous years, but they haven't had it pan out because of the availability issue and also the fact that players it's hard to come to Chicago if you're from far away, especially from Egypt. And
a lot of direct flights to Chicago, Sean, so inaccurate.
They're not coming, though.
Yeah,
that's accurate.
Yeah, that is accurate. Great point, Sean.
Thank you. Kareem El Torki, I mean, he's been storming the PSA Tour. I mean, if you're talking about a gamble, this guy is top 10 material here. I mean, he might break it within the next 2 seasons. So great pick in that front. He's going to be someone like Zachariah in the future where he's going to be competing with the big players. So is this going to be a gamble pick from the Chicago Grizzlies, or is this going to be one of those picks that's not going to pan out and they're in a position that they need to drop again like they did this year? So I could see it both ways, but as a season ticket holder, it seems like you're pretty happy.
I don't think the home of the Chicago Grizzlies, they can't afford to gamble anymore. They need to know what they're doing. I trust them. I'm putting my trust in the Chicago Grizzlies for one more year. I like the pick.
You heard it here first. Yep. One more year, Bill's giving it a shot.
One more year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in round 5 as the Seattle Freeze have made their pick. I am joined with the Seattle owner, Mr. Ali Pierali. Ali, Seattle, you are bringing the West Coast in. What attracted you about the NSL, and what kind of intrigued you to bring a team all the way out to Seattle?
Well, I think there's a huge crowd of people watching at the Seattle Athletic Club. So they are the force behind this all. We've been talking about a community team. We've had a few exhibition matches, but I think to call our team our own is something special, right? We've got success with other professional team, and we want to plant a flag on the West Coast with the NSL, and Seattle is going to be the place where we started.
Well, certainly, and you know, it looks like, well, first of all, the Seahawks are currently winning 17-6 over the Niners, so you got that going for you. You also won the M4 giveaway by guessing nearly exactly how many strokes were played in the match. Is this kind of your thing? Is this just a winning thing that you do and that you have? What's the winning culture? What's Seattle going to look like this upcoming season?
Well, we just have a message for everybody. We are in it to win it.
All right, and I will let you. Who will be heading to Seattle next with your 5th pick?
Okay, so we have a very local favorite. I hope people in Seattle are watching. We've had a few fantastic players in the past coming from Seattle, a little bit unknown on this side of the country, but we've got a young and fantastic player in Layla Sedki. And so she's going to be our next pick, and she's going to plant the flag.
Thank you, Ollie. Like you said, Layla Sedki is heading to, well, not very far, Seattle, where she lives. So with that, we move on. The Louisville Colts, round 5. You're on the clock.
Sedki in pro squash. Her sister was a star at the University of Pennsylvania. She hit the ball as hard as any player I've ever seen. The noise that it used to make, that her sister used to make when she hit the ball against the wall on a traditional court, it sounded like a gunshot. Layla following in her footsteps, joining the Seattle Freeze. I think it's a great pick. Local favorite. Always great to have local players on your team.
She's going to be moving up the rankings, Bill, and you heard it here first. I think she's a talent. She's a very talented player. I mean, that entire family is such a talented player. I remember watching her sister play Hania in the U.S. Open a couple years back when we thought that her sister was going to pursue the professional tour, which unfortunately with injuries she wasn't able to. But the talent they have, she's going to be fantastic. I mean, it was unfortunate that we were just talking about Layla Sedki not playing in college squash, but it was such a shame that she didn't because she was such a talented junior who was really following her footsteps in the junior to hopefully college tour, but I'm sure she had her reasons to not go to a school that doesn't really have a big college squash program, but good to see her pursue the professional tour.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually at Reham's final professional match. Her sister, it was out in Chicago, pulled her hamstring. She was one of the local wild cards, pulled her hamstring, and that ended her career. Now she has a family, had a baby, living a great life. Now she could root for her sister Layla to take up the mantle.
I mean, what a successful family we're talking about here.
It's a heartwarming story, huh?
Yeah. But we're moving on to the next round here. Next pick, actually, not round.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here, and the Louisville Colts are on the clock. I am joined by former commissioner, founder of the National Squash League. Please welcome Fernando Valdezan. I don't know what the trivia question is. This is why we can't. Apparently, I'm supposed to ask you a trivia question. How long was my flight from St. Louis to Cleveland?
49 minutes.
Pretty close. It was an hour and 5. So you're. I don't have a private jet like you, Fernando. You're on the clock here. You can make your pick.
With our 5th pick in the draft, we are taking Sam Osborne-Wild from England. Sorry, guys.
Fernando, former commissioner, however, still huge and founder in the NSL. Can you give us a little bit of a state of the union of the NSL, where you see it going? Obviously, the bringing in of Spencer. We have our new partnership manager as well, Ryan. Just kind of give us a shout out to Ryan, everybody back there helping out the NSL.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was the right time for me to step down, because if not, I think I would have been fired. I mean, look at everything Spencer's done. I mean, he's taken this to the next level. I'm so excited to see where it's going, and honestly, now I'm kind of excited to share the the team with Louisville and help coach them and be a part of that ownership and just enjoy what we've built. So I'm very happy with our new team, and thank you to Ashby and Spencer and everybody who's put a lot of time into this. So thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. Ladies and gentlemen, pioneer of the National Squash League, Fernando Valdezan. Sam Osborne-Wild, like he said, is heading to Louisville, which puts the Lake Erie Beacons on the clock. Lake Erie, you are on the clock.
Oh, boy. Bill, I want to take all credit for this pick. I've mentioned him nonstop in BG's podcast. I mention him, I think, probably once every other episode on my own podcast at the Rally Report. Give it a follow. Maybe
Nice.
I don't know what yours is called, but it was
No, this is you. This is you, Sean.
But yeah, no, Sam Osborne Wild, what a talent he is. He was I thought he was in the same trajectory Jonah Bryant was going to be after that World Juniors upset a couple years back over Egypt on the teams, which really put England in a very hopeful stage after that long period of stop of following along Nick Matthew and James Willstrop's footsteps. But Sam Osborne Wild was part of that team that won it, and now I heard he had a big injury. And he's coming back on the tour for the past year or two, and he's already moving up the rankings on a rapid pace. And he might not go as fast as Jonah Bryant up the rankings, but he's someone to look after, and he's part of under the tutelage of Rob Owen.
Rob Owen. No, the two major coaches in squash have blocked me on social media. Rob Owen is one of them, and Nick Taylor from U.S. Squash, another one. Fun fact.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
how could you possibly?
Not sure why. Not sure what I did. Not sure what I did, but both blocked by both of them. So, yeah, so shout out to both of them. Don't unblock me. I'd like to see some of your content.
Before we start the investigation on why they blocked Bill, which I have absolutely no idea because there's no reason to with all the takes.
Who knows? Who knows? But next pickup, and as we're getting near the tail end of the draft, Sean, Ryan Leslie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Lake Erie Beacons making their pick on the female side of the National Squash League draft. They are basically making a filler pick. We had the Lake Erie Beacons today win the exhibition over the rest of the NSL with their team hanging on here, defending the land at Squash in the Land. And with the 31st pick between both drafts of the National Squash League, please give a round of applause for Amina El-Riani. El-Riani heading to the Lake Erie Beacons. The Nashville Crushers, you're on the clock.
Sean, before we talk about the Amina El-Riani, because I know we have a fountain of information on her, let's give a shout out to Jackson Bragman, who just texted us, watching us at home. Jackson has done the draft for 2 years. This is the first year he's missed. Did it for the first 2 years. I admirably filled in for you last year. I'm admirably filling in for him this year.
Wow. Bill always filling in for one of us.
Yeah.
Jackson, if you're listening, we're completely lost out here. We don't know what we're doing.
We do not. Jackson, could you tell us who Amina El-Riani is? Could you just text us real quick so we could have some information on her?
We really don't know much here on Amina, but I want to give Amina her shout out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a good way to think about it
I've always been a big fan of Amina El-Riani. How's that, Sean?
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more.
And that's also a great point.
Great pick.
Great point.
Great pick.
A great way to put it is round 5 value here.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at the names here of Marie Stefan, Catalina Velez, Lila Setke. And Amina El-Riani has wins over Marina Stefan, Lila Setke, and actually went to 5 with Nicole Bunyan this past year.
If that's not a stellar resume, I don't know what is, Sean. I think probably the biggest thing she has going for her first name's Amina. So, I mean, as it's well known, Aminas do very well in the world of squash. Shout out Amina Orfi. So I think let's just stick with that.
Yeah, and again, we're going to learn more about her as the season goes.
As we get deeper in this draft, Sean and I's expertise may fail us a little bit, but
where are the ads when you need them?
Back to Ryan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the Nashville Crushers pick. He is a representative of the National Squash League. He is, I think, one of our first Aussies off the board. Heading over to Nashville Crushers, Mr. Joe White, heading to Nashville. Give a round of applause for Joe White, and that puts the New York Knights on the clock. New York Knights.
Joe White, we do know something about Joe White. I do know that because he trains in Darien, Connecticut at the Oxbridge Club with Rodney Martin. So I know Joe White. Lovely, lovely man. Big fan of Squash Radio, by the way. So great to have Joe White back in the NSL. Great guy. That's about all I got, though. So, yeah, no, really, really good guy and an up-and-coming player, great Australian player. Awesome pick.
Yeah, I mean, candidly speaking, we need better players from Australia. And
yes.
I think a lot of people are hoping that he moves up the ranking, and he's under the tutelage of Rodney Martin.
Rodney Martin, no,
Yeah,
absolutely. Australia, obviously hosting the 2032 Olympics in Brisbane. One of the issues is that Australian squash has, frankly, gone downhill in the past few years.
Right.
Players like Joe White, we need them to start jumping to the forefront of the squash world, and we need Brisbane 32 to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting to see in the round 5 takers right now. There's been a lot of gamble takes with younger players who have a lot of upside, and I think with Joe White, it's going to be an availability thing too, to have someone based in the U.S.
Right.
who's in Connecticut, as you mentioned, Bill, with your abundance amount of research here.
Yes.
But he's going to be available for a lot of these matches, and
He's in the commercial, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember we go to
Just
commercials?
free
We've been looking at Joe White all night. You would think we would have more information on him. Every time the round switches, we see the commercial with Joe White in it.
but enough about us. Let's move on to the next.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knights, on our 33rd overall pick between both drafts, have selected David Burnett. David Burnett heading to the New York Knights. That puts the Sono Sharks on the clock. Sono, you're on the clock.
One of the youngest players in the NSL, 20 years of age, David Burnett, 76 ranked in the world, headed to New York.
Thank you, Bill. I know, but he's from Switzerland. I mean,
Yeah.
they're in good standing. I was just looking and thinking about the fact that they had the old torch with Nicky Mueller, and they have Dimitri Steinman kind of leading the charge, and Yannick
Right.
Wilhelmi kind of moving up the rankings as well. And now we have David Burnett, who's a part of that unbelievably stacked junior class who have already taken over the PSA Tour. Right now it's a 76 on the graphic, but he's actually already moved up to 68 in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're feeding these kids nowadays,
20 years of age, it's incredible.
Bill, but they're all taking over the tour right now. We got the likes of Kareem El Torki, Jonah Bryan, Zachariah, Melville.
Yep.
David Burnett's a part of that class. So,
Yep.
I mean, just it's an exciting time as a PSA fan, and I feel like we've had kind of a stalling on the younger generation, and to have all these type of players, including David Burnett, is just so fantastic to see the variety of different countries being involved, whether it be Melville from France, David Burnett from Switzerland, obviously Zachariah from Egypt, and Jonah Bryan from England. It's all over right now. So very excited to see what he does. And to have him at 20 years old on a team, as you mentioned, one of the youngest players, this is a long-term play here.
Yeah.
And I think you and I both know that he's going to be moving up the rankings.
Yeah, the younger generation needs to step up. They have a lot of pressure on them. We've been seeing the same players in the top 10 for years. It's time to see the new generation.
All right,
Absolutely.
ladies and gentlemen, the Sono Sharks are on the clock, and they have made their pick. Sono had a great inaugural season, and it looked like they kept nearly all of their players. The only player that they had dropped was Miriam Metwali, who was scooped up earlier by the Seattle Freaks. As we say again in the National Squash League, one team's trash might be another team's treasure. Who knows? And with that, the Sono Sharks are adding to their team from England, Miss Tori Malik. Tori Malik heading to the Sono Sharks. Lake Erie Beacons, you're on the clock to make the final pick of round number 5.
Sean, I love Tori Malik. I'm going to say it right now. There's a lot of Maliks out there. She's my favorite. It's not easy to pick among the Maliks. Her social media presence is incredible. I don't know if you follow her on social media. She did an unboxing the other day. She gets sent stuff from a lot. I don't know what she does, but she gets sent stuff from a lot of people. Her social media presence is incredible. Her presence on the court, also incredible. She's a tough woman. She's tough on court. She plays a very physical brand of squash. Not afraid to hit an opponent with the ball, believe me. She is a great addition, especially, we're looking at the Sono Sharks right now. Selma Hani, Marina Stefanoni, the local product out of Darien, playing in Sono. Margaret Pro, Hannah Motaz, now adding Tori Malik. I mean, to get her this late in the draft, I think is just a great pick by the Sono Sharks.
I'm not going to say it, Bill. That's a great point.
It is a great point.
That is a great point. I mean, just looking at her squad, I mean, it's funny that when Curtis Malik got picked, Bill, did not say a word about him, and then
No.
Tori Malik comes on. And
Well, I think it's interesting because Tori Malik has such a vivacious personality. The Malik boys, they're great guys, and I've met a bunch of them. They're so stoic, right? They have these stone faces on. Tori Malik is the exact opposite. She is like on social media anyway. She's vivacious. She's effervescent. I really like her, and on court, she is a physical beast. So love her.
I mean, I was harsh with the Sonos Sharks with it not dropping anyone, but this kind of solves all the problems
Yeah.
here with Tori Malik, upcoming player as well.
Yeah.
Ranked already higher than Margot Prowse, so should be interesting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our next little activity here with the GM hot seat. So I am joined by Atlanta Tornadoes GM, Mr. Chad Hood, and the Newport Dragons coach, Mr. Patrick Kosker. This is our Mira wine giveaway. So we have a bottle of red and a bottle of white. However, the GMs must make the correct answers. Whoever wins will get a bottle of wine. Hold on one second. The winning GM will get a bottle of wine. I am now drinking a nice glass of red wine from Mira Wine. Don't forget about Mira Wine. One second. That's not your wine, Celia. Your wine's gone. Okay. GM hot seat. Here we go. Pretend like this is Family Feud. Buzz in. I don't have a buzzer, but just pretend like it is. Who won the inaugural NSL match in 2023? The first ever NSL match in 2023. Which city won? Did you buzz? You buzzed for Atlanta? Incorrect. Buzzed. There's 9 teams. New York was incorrect. The correct answer was Louisville. So I guess there's a tie. So I did not. I did not make the questions. So so one of these two should definitely know who this is. Who was the #1 overall pick in the 2024 NSL draft on the men's side? Chad. Yusuf Ibrahim is correct. That is correct. The player that you drafted was the #1 overall pick. So good job on that. All right. And question number 3, final question. If Chad gets this, you win. If not, you can both take a bottle. Where this year for 2026, where is the NSL Finals being played? Got it. All right, Pat got it. We'll ask another. I got to think of another question. Opening day last year. Who was the first overall pick of the 2026 National Squash League draft? It happened like an hour and a half ago. Yeah, Chad Hood, go on. There we go. All right, Chad Hood, you have won the Mira giveaway. That was our first ever GM hot seat. I promise it'll be better next time. Would you like a bottle of red or white or both? And you guys should share it at this table. All right, good. Here you go. There's 1. There's 2. Thank you to Mr. Barrett Dyke and Mira Wine for the Mira Wine giveaway. Everybody should also remember that you can go get yourself a glass of Mira Wine. I am now going to select, I'm not going to select, but I will make the final pick of round number 5. Round number 5 to the Lake Erie Beacons. From Canada, by the way, Lake Erie Beacons on the men's side. From Canada, Mr. David Balergeron. David Balergeron heading to the Lake Erie Beacons. That concludes round number 5. We are heading into round number 6. Everyone remember that round 6 was added to this year's draft. So each team will have their pick in round number 6 as we round out everybody's teams for having their 6 picks. We're going to take a short break. Everybody go get yourself a glass of Mira wine, and we will be right back after these commercials.
Meet Dakota Marketplace. Built by fundraisers for fundraisers. It's a complete, accurate, and ever-updated database. Stay current on job and role changes to be notified when your prospect or client leaves a firm. Stay up to date on fundraising news. Access our metro areas feature, which allows you to quickly identify a city that you are traveling to, and all of the qualified prospects within that city broken out by channel. All of this updated in real time. Request a demo and see how we make fundraising easier.
David Bayajan. So this is going to be awkward. As it gets, I don't know what's more awkward, the contest they're doing out there as it gets late in the draft. I don't know what's more awkward, those contests, or me talking about David Bayajan. David Bayajan, well known. I've said it before on my podcast. David Bayajan, the second best looking player on the PSA Tour behind Paul Call.
This is just purely Bill's take
Yeah,
here.
purely my
and
take.
he's been pushing along for the past couple years.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a podcast, by the way, Bill.
Squash Radio.
You want to give the audience a quick shout?
Subscribe and share. You want to hear more David Bayajan content, download and share.
I mean,
Squash
clearly
Radio.
with your expertise on knowing David, what's been his situation the past couple years? Because I haven't really seen him active in the past year.
As far as his squash, I'm not too sure. I mean,
but his looks has maintained.
Yeah, he's maintained his looks, which is really all that matters at this level.
But I believe he's.
I mean, look at the picture. Look at the graphic. I mean, come on. It says it all.
King of the North, right?
King of the North, exactly. So, David Bayajan, back to Ryan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, round 6 is going to be our longest round. God dang it. I just dropped my paper, but it doesn't matter because I know who picked. The Freedom. Never mind, I need my paper. The Freedom are on the clock, and they've made their pick. So for the 6th round, as we go into it, the Philadelphia Freedom, defending champions of the National Squash League, are adding a treasured U.S. player residing in the area of the Philadelphia Freedom. She was a national champion of the U.S. New mother, Miss Olivia Klein. Olivia Klein heading to the Philadelphia Freedom. And the next defending champions, the Philadelphia Lightning, you are on the clock. FYI.
Fantastic pick by Philadelphia. Olivia Klein, one of my favorite people in squash. It makes me feel very old that she is a mother now. I've known her since she was probably 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Coaching down in Philadelphia, and as we talked about earlier, end of her career, she was playing some of the best squash of her career. High world ranking of number 11, local Philadelphia product. She'll bring in the crowds. Probably one of the smartest people on the PSA Tour also, beside being a great player and a great person. So well read. She's probably better at what we're doing. She's probably better at emceeing. She's probably better at commentating than 99% of the people in squash.
And she'll probably take all of our jobs.
She will take all of our jobs.
this pick just feels right, Bill, for her. I mean, it was so interesting to see her be at the top of her game and then kind of suddenly announce her retirement.
Yeah.
And I think with what we've seen with Nick Matthew, the likes of Omar Mossad, she's only 32 years old, and I don't think she's going to be up for this. And I've always thought that if she's a player around like top 15 who's made it to the top 15, I think she'll be better than most of the players in this draft.
She was on the forefront as a junior. She was like the first star U.S. junior who competed across the pond, who put U.S. squash juniors on the map. She was before Amanda Sobey. So it was Olivia Klein, or Olivia Blatchford as she was back then. She came before Amanda Sobey. She was a pioneer. So great to see her.
No
back
slander
in the game.
of Olivia here.
No.
I'm not accepting it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just got the Philadelphia Freedom defending champions taking the sweetheart of Olivia Klein. We head over to the brother of the Philadelphia Freedom in the Philadelphia Lightning, also defending champions. I hope that the Eagles season is not a, inference of what's going to happen for the Philadelphia teams this year. Which is hard to say as I'm an Eagles fan. But with that, the Philadelphia Lightning are selecting Mr. Nick Wall. Nick the Brick Wall is heading to Philadelphia Lightning, another Brit. I think there's a trend there, BG. Lake Erie Beacons, you're on the clock.
For a sixth-round pick, I think this is great value here. I mean, I don't know how available he's going to be. I'm surprised at the fact that he's being taken sixth round. I'm going to take a stab at the fact that he might not be available for a lot of these matches given his ranking, and he's on the younger side. He's probably looking to be in his prime the next 3 years, hoping to move up. And there's just an abundance of English junior players, and I know he's been under the tutelage of Nick Matthew, part of the Nick Matthew Academy. But lefty, who gave a lot of trouble to Victor Crouan the past couple of years. So good to see him involved in this league. And, Bill, I was thinking Curtis Malik and Nick Wall, Englishman, Mohamed El Shorbagy.
Yes.
Some influence in this with BG's decisions here?
Very well could be. It's hard to say how involved. BG seems pretty autonomous when it comes to making these kind of picks, so it's hard to tell. What do you think of the name Nick Wall? I mean, do you think his parents wanted him to be a squash player?
It never dawned on me. It just realized.
Nick Wall. I mean, if you're going to want a squash player, you're going to name him Nick, and you're going to name him a Wall. So there you go.
That's funny because he has the most attritional game that I'd say the entire draft here. He's got a very.
We're in the sixth round, Sean. We're in the sixth round at this point. We're really pushing the boundaries here.
Let's hope he's available because he'll be a great addition.
All right, we have the Lake Erie Beacons on the men's side making their pick from England, and. Ben and I have had a couple of fun times in some of our matches, and I hope that for the Lake Erie Beacon's sake, that Ben Smith plays a lot better than he does at sports gambling. But with that said, Ben Smith heading to the Lake Erie Beacons. Ben Smith to the Lake Erie Beacons. Stop making those parlays, Ben. It doesn't work. Next on the clock, DC Inferno, you're up.
Is there such thing as gambling HIPAA violations? Because I think Ryan Ryan just outed Ben Smith. So, again, Ben Smith, 84th ranked in the world. I'm just going to read his stats because, again, I don't know a lot about Ben Smith. I like Ben Smith already, though, because as an MC of PSA events, you look at the...
Makes your life easier.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Smith, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there was 1 million Ben Smiths on the PSA tour, life would be good.
It's interesting. I do know a bit about him, Bill. He's got a very tall frame. And that's joining to Lake Erie Beacons here. He's got, the fun fact, he's got the same exact backhand as Sam Todd. I don't know if anyone out there, any squash nerds out there, if you want to put a footage of Ben Smith and Sam Todd right together, they look exactly the same from the backhand side. He's got a very clean game. I think he's probably like 6'2", 6'3". He might challenge Yannick on the height battle for Lake Erie Beacons here. So we'll see. But sixth round, great value from England. We'll see how.
We're at the point where we're physically describing the players now. He has a great frame.
It's a big frame.
Big frame.
Have I mentioned that he's got a big frame?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Yeah, Ben Smith, congratulations. Look forward. Welcome you to the National Squash League.
And on to the next pick here. It's going to be a long 6th round.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the DC Inferno are on the clock. The Inferno earlier had selected Rowan El-Arabi to be part of their team as they had dropped Lisa Aitken. So Rowan joined Amanda Sobey, Jasmine Hutton, Rachel Arnold, and Marie Stefan to fill out their 5 spots. And now with their 6th spot, selecting the woman that they had dropped in the 3rd round, going back to DC Inferno as no one had picked her up. Give it up for Scotland's Lisa Aitken. Lisa Aitken back on the DC Inferno. Next on the clock, Newport Dragons. You're up.
What on earth is he talking about? I mean, I know. I finally know one of the players who's getting drafted, and what is he describing there? I'm confused. Who's Rowan El-Arabi, number 1, and who got dropped for who? Ryan has lost the plot at this point. I believe it's fair to say. But
6th round.
6th round. Lisa Aitken, though. Again, another person who would be doing this better than us. A stalwart on Squash TV, coming off injury, trying to make it back on the PSA Tour. A fighter on court, athlete. She's an athlete first. She not only plays squash, she also plays soccer. She is an athlete, and I think she's a great addition and a great 6th round pick.
You know, I
still have no idea what Ryan's talking about. That could have been anybody he described right there.
I was a bit, yeah.
I was mesmerized by that. Yeah.
Well,
I was so excited I knew who she was.
But I had an inkling when they dropped Lisa Aitken. I said on BG's pod that I have a hunch that DC Inferno is going to pick her back up. But, I mean, on the player's perspective, Bill, like, how are you feeling if the fact that you get dropped and you get picked up right away just doesn't exude confidence there? But I did get it from inside source that Lisa actually reached out to the team saying that she was not available for a lot of these matches, so maybe it might be worth. But she's great value there, 6th round. Glad.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to make a pick for the Newport Dragons. I was asked to speak in a French accent. I'm trying to speak like my counterpart, Celia Peshley. Celia is such a great person to work with. And I want to let you know that the Newport Dragons, the Dragons are going to say bienvenue to Mr. Auguste Dassaud. Auguste Dassaud heading to the Newport Dragons. Make sure to bring your baguette on the flight there. So congratulations to Mr. Auguste Dassaud, as you are now a part of the Newport Dragons. And the Atlanta Tornadoes, you are on the clock. That's very good. Merci beaucoup.
Auguste Dassaud. I mean, we did talk about Nick Taylor blocking me on social media along with Rob Owen. Nobody blocks more on the court than Auguste Dassaud. I mean, I'm not sure. He's tough to watch. I don't know, Sean. I'm not a fan. I just have to say it. Not a fan. Tough player to watch on tour.
He has an ability to rile his opponents up. I'm giving you the PR version of what Bill just said.
Yes.
He has a great ability. He's a great knack to rile his opponents up. And, I mean, he was a part of that. I believe he was drafted with the New York Knights, and there was a lot of excitement around him, given how he was moving up the rankings back in time. But I think he's been hit with some injuries, but he's coming back on tour. But outside of his antics, he is objectively a great player. So
great. Are we at the point where we're calling anybody a great player?
I mean,
Auguste Dassaud, honestly, look at me in the eye, Sean, right now. We've been together for like the last 2 hours.
He is a great player.
Auguste Dassaud is a great player.
Squash-wise.
Wow. Okay.
Squash-wise.
All right.
And I'll double down on it. He is a great player.
Okay. All right. Just not a good better player than person?
I didn't say you said it.
I'm just asking. Okay. All right.
Well, I don't know much about him, so I don't want to jump to conclusions outside the court of what he's like.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Rough to watch him play. I show up to a tournament, I buy a ticket, I sit down, I see Auguste Dassaud's going to step on court. I'm like, maybe I wasted my money.
That's funny. When I'm on streams, I love tuning into his matches. But.
All right, now that we got that French out of the way, we're going to head over to the Atlanta Tornadoes. The Atlanta Tornadoes are going to select from Malaysia. Give it up for Mr. Sanjay Jiva. Sanjay Jiva off the board heading to Atlanta. Next on the clock are the Sono Sharks.
I can set this up. Sanjay Jiva, who was selected in round 2 last year, which raised a lot of eyebrows from a lot of fans around the NSL about too high of a value, which is disrespectful because he's an upcoming player, Bill, but now he's in round 6, which I think now it's a steal compared to what it was last year. He's a great player that's moving up the rankings. I said it again, great. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it in the 6th round, but he is another great player here. That's from Malaysia. He played at FNM. Also, just great to see that college players, not only from the Ivy Leagues, but outside, who are taking the professional route and who's making inroads as a young player.
Getting a lot of text right now, Sean. I mean, Sanjay Jiva, obviously, as you said, got dropped, got picked up. Rounds out the Atlanta lineup. A lot of veteran players, but I'm getting a lot of text right now, like what's happening with my hair on the stream. So if you look, see that? It's kind of standing up there. It's not. See, I should have. I brought the wrong toupee with me. It's coming. The glue is coming undone as we get to the 6th round. So sorry about that. I'm going to try to focus on the rest of these picks. But yes, so that's what's going on with my hair. So stop tweeting at me. Stop messaging me on Instagram, and stop messaging me on WhatsApp about my hair.
You heard it here first from Bill.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Sono Sharks are on the clock, and they are making their final pick of this year's NSL draft. From Colombia, please give it up for Lucia Bautista. Lucia Bautista heading to the Sono Sharks. Next on the clock, New York Knights, you are up.
As we get later in the draft, Sean, I mean, is it me or do Ryan's accent sound the same when he's doing somebody French and he's doing somebody Colombian? I honestly can't distinguish them from this. But they're all increasingly awkward and probably offensive.
Yes.
Okay. So, Lucia Batista, great player. 101. No, she is. She's
That's
a
a
very
great
good
point, Bill.
That is a great point. But the Pan Am under-23 champion, ranked 101st in the world. She's a better player than that. And I think she's, again, these are value picks. The 6th round, a lot about availability. So I think if you could have someone of her ranking, of her ability, and she's going to show up for both of your matches, that's a plus.
Yeah, I'm going to entrust that Sean Moxham and Kathleen know exactly what they're doing. I know
Yes.
they've seemed very intentional with how they've approached this draft. I think I've probably maybe given them too hard of a time with not dropping any player, but given that the playoffs will be held in Connecticut in their own very own facility.
Right.
But we're just going to entrust that they know what they're doing much better than we do, and they've done their research. So
they've done a great job with their facilities. I think they could do the great job with their team.
Synonymous to that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knights are on the clock, but we must inform you all, to begin with, of probably, I think, our first ever trade at the draft. I don't know if we've ever had a trade mid-draft. However, there has been a trade between the Nashville Crushers and the New York Knights. The Knights are trading David Burnett for Joe White. Joe White is now heading to the Knights, and Nashville is getting David Burnett. So that's our first ever trade mid-draft. And the Knights now get to make their selection in the 6th round to finish out their team for this year. From the United States of America, heading to the New York State of Mind in the Knights. Please give it up for Mr. Shah Jahan Khan. Shah Jahan Khan heading to the New York Knights. That puts the Crushers on the clock.
I was actually all excited about a trade. I thought there were going to be some big names trade. It's kind of like, like when ESPN, you get the notification. I follow the Yankees, and you get a notification. Yankees pull off trade, and you expect to see some big names, and then it's like two AA players getting swapped, and you'll never see them in the major leagues. I kind of got that feeling with that trade, unfortunately. No offense to Joe White and David Burnett, but I was all pumped up for some some big movements at the top of the lineups there.
I was too. I think we both really locked in for a sec there, even though it's the 6th round. But
yeah, look at you cannot put that. That cannot.
Especially for Shah Jahan's resume. I think
Shah Jahan's like 30. He's 30. He's balding. He's an older player. You cannot put U.S. Junior Open champion as the highlight of your career. You cannot. You just can't.
No, absolutely. Round 6.
How about U.S. national team player?
It's funny how he hasn't won any U.S. national champions.
No, but he's a U.S. national team player.
Right. No, but yeah.
How about that instead of U.S. Junior Open champion? Yeah. I mean, come on. That's doing dirty. Doing him dirty.
Bill will be taking over the player bios.
Yeah,
next
you know
year.
what? I can't do this. Obviously, I'm not good at this, so I maybe do the player bios. I wonder what they could have me do next year. They had me do the stream today. They had me do emceeing last year. Now they have
Every
me
year
doing this.
progresses and you get more involved in the NSL.
I might be the next CEO. Look out, Spencer. Countdown. The countdown can't come quick enough to the next pick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are flowing through round number 6 as we are at the 44th overall pick of the combined draft of the men's and women's National Squash League draft. Galen, can you not yawn? That was a very, very big yawn. I think you need to get to Waffle House and, keep yourself going. Anyways, I hope I'm not putting you to sleep tonight. With that said, the Nashville Crushers are selecting the Argentinian, Mr. Hermes Azania. Hermes Azania is heading to Nashville to complete the Nashville Crushers team. That puts the Lake Erie Beacons on the clock.
I like that pick. I like Hermes Azania. Actually, I know Hermes Azania. We just followed each other on Instagram yesterday, so big fans of each other, obviously. Trains down at Connecticut with Wael El Hindi.
In Florida, right?
In Florida.
Yeah.
So nice pick. Nothing sweeter than a 6th-round pick is somebody I know and somebody I communicate with on Instagram. So solid pick.
Yeah. Jeremiah's been part of the NSL. He's played in it. I think he's maybe been called up in a couple matches, and he's also been part of the teams last year. So to have him in the round 6, I mean, he should maybe, in my opinion, should have gone earlier, given the fact that he is available with his skill set. But I hate to say it again here, but I think that's a great pick.
Great pick. I really like it. And at least it didn't say on the below for his. It didn't say like U.S. Junior Open quarterfinalist. So.
Argentina Junior Open champion.
Exactly. So no, great pick. Really nice kid too. He's so. I call them kids. I mean, they're in their 20s, but I was down at Connecticut a couple of years ago for an event and just treated me like I was a member of his family. So really like him.
Not many win Bill's heart.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we go back to the Lake Erie Beacons on the female side, making their final pick to round out their team. Please give it up for Kira Marshall. Kira Marshall, you are heading to the Great Lake Erie Beacons. Next on the clock, Louisville Colts, you're up.
Kira Marshall, 85th in the world, won PSA title, was a London Open 2025 quarterfinalist.
What else, Bill? What else,
Bill can read. At my advanced age, I could still read. Again, yeah, we're at that point where they're going to start throwing people out of Sean. I mean, I got to say, I followed the PSA Tour probably as close as anyone. A lot of these players I just don't know. So you know what? I could lie. I could make it up. I could do what, you remember Jackson Bragman? What would Jackson Bragman say about Kira Marshall? Actually, he's like the Rain Man about squash, so he would probably know like everything about her.
He will find a way to fill the time here.
Yeah,
better than us.
U.S. Junior Open round of 16 winner Kira Marshall. Yeah, welcome to the NSL. Yeah, we apologize if the Marshalls are watching at home. Sorry, we're the best that the NSL could afford at this point.
We're the NSL regulars here, and she's from England.
Mercifully, they're counting down the clock on us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Louisville Colts are making their final pick of the evening. Like we said earlier, I think the entire city of Louisville is here, which is great representation. Shout out to the Blythes and Galen, obviously, for being in attendance this evening, making that trek all the way from Louisville. Given that, the Louisville Colts have selected a decorated U.S. player, one of the best juniors that we've seen out of the U.S., and he was a national champion himself. I would like to let everybody know that it's not Spencer Lovejoy. So with that said, give it up for the Louisville Colts finishing out their lineup. Mr. Andrew Douglas. Andrew Douglas is heading to Louisville. That puts the Seattle Freeze on the clock for their final pick of the evening.
Andrew Douglas, the 7-time Junior Open quarterfinalist. No, just kidding. Great pick. You know what? I'm not going to do what I did last year. Andrew Douglas, just a fantastic pick. Was a top 50 player. Has all the talent in the world. I see no reason why Andrew Douglas can't go down to Louisville and contribute to that team and lead them to a championship. Sean? Sean?
Bill, I can't take you seriously right now, especially with what transpired last year with Andrew Douglas getting selected.
I've learned.
And
I'm not going to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, and Dougie proving him wrong
Yes.
with that first match of the
Yes.
season. Obviously, now he's another year deeper in law school, so his match fitness, I'll say it, you won't say it, could be a bit questionable. We don't know where he's at, but I'll shoot him a text right after and see where his fitness stands. And
Could Louisville have some legal troubles, and that's why they're drafting him? Could be something
that
going
could
on
be a
down
great
there.
point. I
It's
mean,
very possible.
He's going to be a very successful lawyer.
Love Andrew Douglas, my favorite player, my favorite NSL player of all time. Love you, Andrew Douglas.
You'll never hear Bill say another bad word about Andrew after last year.
Never. So great pick, great pick. Can't wait till they pick another 60-year-old old U.S. player who's retired.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 more picks for the evening to let everybody fill out their lineups. With that said, I am unfortunately daunted with the task of letting everybody know that this is last call at the bar. So I guess, if you want a drink, now's your time to go get it. Mira Wine is probably what I would suggest you get. Given that they're a sponsor with us here in the NSL. But if you would like to grab your last drink, go do it now. It is his last call, even though we will be continuing this party at the hotel later. With that said, the Seattle Freeze are making their last pick. Please give it up for Saskia Bernhardt. Saskia Bernhardt is going to Seattle, and that rounds out the Seattle Freezes lineup. Let's see if they can continue their winning culture out there in Seattle. Panthers, Greenwich, you're on the clock.
Yeah, unfortunate. The graphic for Saskia Bernhardt got something happened to it. So there she is, 77th in the world. Age 26, 4-time national champion, Monaco Classic, 2025 quarterfinals. Big sports news again, Sean, has hit during the NSL draft. The Mohamed El Shorbagy news over Diego Ellis was huge. We have to root hard for the Houston Texans tomorrow. News just came out that Bo Nix, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, broke his ankle and is out of the AFC final next week. So although they beat the Buffalo Bills in overtime, they don't have a quarterback next week. We cannot have the New England Patriots making it to the Super Bowl. Houston Texans, if you're listening, and I know you are, please beat the Patriots tomorrow. Please. I cannot have in my neighborhood. There's 3 Patriot fans in there. I mean, I can't have it. I won't go back. I won't go back to Connecticut. I'll stay here. I'll stay in slushy Cleveland if I have to. I am not going back if the Patriots win.
Bear with us, everyone tuning into the live stream. We're in the 6th round here.
Yeah. Saskia, welcome to the NSL.
Hailing from Germany.
From Germany.
Good to know that Bill knows how to read still.
Yes.
Reading off the bio.
Saskia.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Greenwich Panthers' final pick of the evening. I can see all the owners right now kind of stressing out, looking at their laptops, trying to figure out who's left on the board, who do they take. Like we said earlier, the best ability in the NSL is availability. I kind of feel like all the fantasy football drafts that I do, it's the later rounds. You have no idea who to pick, so you just start shooting. And the names get harder to pronounce for me, which is great. So the Greenwich Panthers, with their final pick, our 48th overall pick of the evening, are taking Kareem Badawi. Kareem Badawi is heading to Greenwich to fill out the rest of their team. We have 2 more picks of the evening, which puts the New York Queens on the clock. Almost called you the New York Knicks.
Sean?
Which you're not.
Kareem Badawi, world ranking 190, age 20, Bahrain Challenger 2025 winner, Maspeth Welding Steel Court Championships 2025 semifinalist. Quick shout out to Maspeth Squash, big sponsor of the Rally Report podcast.
Yeah, I think that's what I know most about him. He plays well on a steel court. That's been his game. Unfortunately, there are no steel courts in the NSL, so I'm not sure how he's going to fare. So I think once the steel court revolution probably takes over the squash world and they're a little more prevalent, I think that's when you're going to see Kareem Badawi no longer go in the 6th round of the NSL draft. He'll probably go a lot higher.
I'm going to say it here, Bill. I don't understand this pick. From Greenwich. I mean, there are so many players still in the draft on the men's side who have perhaps strong attachment to the U.S., maybe graduated from school in the U.S. and are looking to pursue their professional career. And then we have an Egyptian player who's very young, 20, who's not even based in the U.S., I believe.
Yeah, but if you're this late in the draft and you're looking at a resume and you see somebody made the Maspeth Steel semifinal as a semifinalist, are you not going to pick him, Sean?
I stand corrected immediately.
Okay. Just it's a resume. At this point, you're looking at a resume.
Veer, would you like to make this pick? It's a joke. No. We are here making our final picks of the evening. We have the New York Queens to finish out the Women's National Squash League draft, followed by the Chicago Grizzlies to finish out the men's side of the National Squash League draft. Last year when I did the draft in Charlottesville, I received some ridicule about the way that I, acknowledged the fact that the last picks of the draft are typically known as Mrs. or Mr. Irrelevant. And I also did make sure that nobody put words in my mouth that I did not say because, like I did say at the draft, we all know in the NSL absolutely nobody is irrelevant. So I just wanted to go through some history here about what it means to be Mr. Irrelevant. This is a National Football League type of thing, and it was coined by the former NFL player Paul Salata in 1976 to honor him being the final pick of the draft. There's actually a trophy in their honor, the Lozman trophy. It's a parody of the Heisman featuring a player fumbling the ball. And there's actually a celebration in Newport Beach, California, which would be great if we could have the draft there next year so we're not buried in 3 feet of snow in Cleveland. Yeah, like let's go there or go to Miami. Miami, we could make a team, go to Miami, it'd be a lot more fun in the sun, not in the snow. And one of our, there are success stories that come out of being Mr. or Mrs. Irrelevant, like Brock Purdy this evening is playing for the San Francisco 49ers. He was Mr. Irrelevant as well, but I also hate to break the news that Brock Purdy is currently losing 27-6 as the Seahawks are destroying the Niners in round 3. As I digress, I would like everybody to know that there's nobody that's irrelevant, even though I would like to coin the Mrs. Irrelevant for the New York Queens. A U.S. player, another new mother, joining her her husband, who is a former NSL champion of last year with the Philadelphia Lightning, Mr. Nathan Lake. Give it up for Haley Mendez. Haley Mendez is heading to the New York Queens. That gives us 49 picks. We have to make one more pick for round number 6. And we are giving it to the Grizzlies. You're on the clock.
Haley Mendez, I love that pick. Right across the river in Brooklyn. Right across the river from Vidai, where Open Squash, where the Queens play. A local product. I think that will sell tickets. She'll bring the family there. She has a new child. Nathan Lake, her husband, loves the NSL. He's one of the drivers behind his team. I think this is a fantastic pick. I think that's a great value pick. Former member of the U.S. national team. I just think a 6th-round name factor alone, Haley Mendez, the Mendezes of Brooklyn, New York, now playing for their hometown New York Queens.
My goodness, Bill, that might have been your best.
Yeah, 6th round, right? I'm done after that. I got nothing. I'm done. I emptied the tank there. I emptied the tank
that
there,
was
son.
that was highly impressive. I mean,
yeah. So I could tell a really good Haley Mendez
Please.
story, and if we had more time, I would, but I won't. Why Haley Mendez doesn't really like me? There's a reason. It's a fair reason too. It's one of the fair reasons, but I don't have time to tell it, so I won't.
I'm just really.
I think we've gotten over it. I think we've gotten past it.
Well, you got to hear it through the Squash Radio podcast.
Squash Radio podcast. Subscribe and share. Has to do with an internship when she was.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am here standing 50 picks later to conclude the 3rd National Squash League Draft here in Cleveland, Ohio. Again, let's give it up, a round of applause for everybody that came into attendance this evening, who made the trip, fully invested, fully committed. We thank you so much for participating. This league is about having fun, being competitive, and just putting on a show for every single person. We hope that you enjoyed our show this evening. Again, we would also like to thank all of our new sponsors, our new partners, Dakota, Sunrise Courts, M4, Dunlop, Mira, U.S. Squash, Club Locker, the SEA, and Honeymoon. And I'm also missing Tinio. So thank you very much to them. I also need to give out a huge shout out to all of our production staff back in the back room putting on a draft on the National Squash League live stream. Home Team Network. These guys have worked for months. A lot of planning calls, a lot of stress, creating run of shows, creating the schedule for this evening. These guys do an incredible job. They've been with us for 2 years. They do some of your matches as well. So Home Team Network, thank you so much for everything that you've put together. Another shout out to Celia Pashley, Ashby Howard, Spencer Lovejoy for putting all this together. Don't forget about Mr. Tucker Tavarone, our other people in the back, Bill Buckingham, and Sean Choi doing all the commentary for the exhibition today. And finally, you know, with Squash in the Land, the way that top-notch management put this entire show together, very, very impressive. You know, thank you so much for allowing us to do this in your space, for allowing us to put on this draft as we have an incredible 6 months ahead for the 2026 National Squash League. So with that, the Chicago Grizzlies with the final pick of the 2026 National Squash League. Mr. Irrelevant, again, nobody's irrelevant. Please don't put words in my mouth. Yassine El Shafei is heading to the Chicago Grizzlies. I would sit here and try to let you know the 6 players of every single team, but I don't know the 6 players that are going to every single team. There'll be a graphic that'll come out by our social media team later. But again, thank you to every single person that showed up this evening. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And thank you to all of you that have made this dream, this vision, and this goal possible. This mission will not be completed without all of you. Matches will begin January 30th with Atlanta. We have an exhibition going at the TOC. So tune in to the TOC to A, watch Incredible Squash, B, watch our exhibition coming up, and C, finally, just to have all of the National Squash League represented in the best way possible. So thank you again for joining everybody that tuned in, everybody that joined here in the show, all of our production staff, everyone else. My name is Ryan Leslie. I enjoy every single one of you, and I enjoy putting on any show that is possible. So have a great night, get home safe, and good luck to every single one of our 15 teams in this year's National Squash League. There are no more draft picks. There are no more substitutions and no more power plays. There is just squash. Good night from Cleveland, Ohio.
Ryan Leslie. Ryan obviously doesn't realize that I have an 8 a.m. flight tomorrow, and I have to get up at 5:30. could you drag that out any longer? So, Sean, that was awesome. We do have a couple quick things that happened in the last few minutes that we want to report. So I got my bedtime reminder that comes up on my phone at 10:30. So it's 10:30. It's past my bedtime. And Perry Malik now follows me on Instagram. So
clearly you liked what you heard here.
Clearly liked what I heard. But all joking aside, a great draft. Incredible. I had a lot of fun. Had a great time in Cleveland. I want to give a couple of shout outs. Obviously, I want to give a shout out to the production team here, hometown. I want to give a shout out to all the players who were drafted tonight and all the players who are going to compete in the National Squash League. Special shout out to Sequoia, who worked the front desk here in one of the booths. She claimed that she was named Sequoia because her mother was a hippie and she wanted to like have her be one with the trees. In the end, she found out she was named after the Toyota. So she told me that whole story today while I was setting up for the draft. So shout out Sequoia. I told her I'd give her a little shout out on the draft tonight.
That's amazing.
So there you go. Sean, I want to ask you the question as we exit the airways. Who was the winner of the 2026 draft on the women's side?
I'm going to have to go with the New York Queens, and that's no bias aside the fact that I'm in New York, but I think they had such a well balance of youth, veteran presence. Also, I think they had a well balance of players outside of the U.S., but also they looked at the later rounds of availability within the U.S., whether it be Madeline or Haley Mendez as well. So I thought they had really good striking balance, and clearly Noah Gohard knows what she's doing as a coach there. How about for you? How about the winner for the men's side?
I'm going to say the Atlanta Tornado.
Wow.
I mean, squash has always marketed itself as a sport for life, and I think Atlanta Tornado showed by picking Nick Matthew and Omar Masad in the NSL draft. Squash is a game for life. Even if you're a little bit past your prime, you still have something to offer. I am really looking forward to seeing how the Atlanta Tornadoes do this year.
Bill, it was a pleasure sharing the stream with you. And guys, the NSL action now just really is going to start here. And we're going to have the season planned through from January to June, where the NSL playoffs and finals will be held at the M Squash Sono facility in Connecticut. So really stay tuned for that. And also, big shout out to everyone who's still staying in tune for the live stream here. It's been a long couple hours listening to Bill and I here.
Yes.
But it's been a pleasure.
All right. Good night, everyone. We look forward to seeing all NSL fans at Grand Central Station, 4 p.m. Thursday, finals of the TOC for the NSL exhibition on the center court at Vanderbilt Hall. Sean, good night.
And good night, everyone, as we see the finalized rosters.